Hey,
Hey, Paul, Jasper, good to meet you, man.
how you doing, buddy?
Good to have you on the podcast. This is exciting. My first time having a woodworker.
Yeah. Well, I honestly never thought I'd be on this podcast. I've listened to it, but I just I didn't know you'd cross disciplines.
Yeah, well, I didn't. This is my first time.
Hmm.
This is it, man. You're
Excellent.
the one. You're the one I'm starting out with. I've been thinking about it for a while because I'm interested, as you know, in a lot of stuff. And
Hmm.
man, yeah. So I don't know if my audience. We'll see what happens. We'll see if my audience is into it. I don't know. But you're a good sport though to do it, knowing that it's mostly a painting and sculpture workshop or
Well,
not workshop podcast.
well,
But
so I have a thought about that. When I think about being on podcasts, um, I know you feature people in their stories, of
right,
course, right?
right.
But to me, like my own goal when I think about crossing disciplines or talking about a podcast, that it's not so much about me that's important, but rather larger mental, emotional, and philosophical issues or challenges that all of us deal with as artists.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
each person is like a microcosm of those things that we all deal with on a daily basis but don't talk about. And whether it's a woodworker or a sculptor or a painter, I feel like all of us can relate to the same core issues that we struggle with on a daily basis. And that's what it's really about. That's why, it almost is in some ways irrelevant what your field is, right?
It is. Oh
If
my
we if
gosh,
we
look how
talk about those,
professional I am. Did you hear my phone just go off?
no.
I'm such a great podcaster, aren't I? Jeez, oh my gosh, I'm gonna turn my phone off right there. No, you're right though, but you're absolutely right. But it's also about you. Like this is this is about
Well,
you. I want to
I'll
know
humor you for a bit.
everything about you in this podcast. So, but I was thinking you have a podcast too. It's remind me the name again because I literally just heard about
Yeah.
it like a week
It is
ago.
well, it's called Woodworking is Bullshit.
That's right, I forgot.
Right?
How do I
And the
forget
reason
that name?
and the reason we call it that is because we were as a group, we were so tired of the day the like tired, exhausting conversation about tools and jigs and tips and tricks and joint this and execution that it's
Mm-hmm.
so exhausted and played out that we wanted to have a podcast that speaks about where does creativity come from? What do you do when you're in a creative rut? What if you have to summon creativity on demand and the well has run dry? Do you feel like an imposter? How do you feel about legacy? And does it
Oh, dude,
matter?
that's the
Um,
thing. You're right on, and that goes to your previous point. Is that it
mm,
doesn't matter if you're a painter or a woodworker.
right.
It's the same. It's the same thing. We all have the
And
same thoughts, same problems,
yes,
same imposter syndrome.
But Jeff, how many people are talking about these things?
Yeah. Well, I talk about it every week. It's getting, you know what I mean? So, yeah, but yeah, I suppose you're right. The general public isn't talking about it. That's for sure.
No, but how many people are talking about, oh, what kind of paint do you use? Or what kind of brush is your favorite? Or, what
Right.
kind of chisels do you recommend? What should my
Right.
first saw be? Like that stuff is like, sure. I mean, we could talk about the execution part, but really what I think is most important are these, like I said, mental, emotional, and philosophical topics that we all deal with as artists.
Yeah. Do you ever do workshops or anything where you teach
I
woodworking?
do. I
Okay,
do.
because I wonder if you get similar questions to what we get as painters,
Hmm.
where people will ask questions. Maybe it's about a jig, maybe it's about a particular saw you own or a particular tool that
Hmm.
you own. Maybe it's the hottest new thing, the hottest new tool that's out by Festool or something. And people think that if they own that thing, they will
Hmm.
become you.
Hmm.
Do
Oh,
you get that as well?
oh my God. The hobbyist world is rife with that thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone's looking for the easy, the sort of
The
the
trick.
cheat button, right? The
Mm.
trick. If I buy this tool, and hobbyists, like, look, most woodworkers who take classes are hobbyists, right?
Right.
They're not full-time professionals. So hobbyists are, they have a lot of money because they have an otherwise, a job otherwise. And so they're looking, how can I spend money and that'll catch me up or give me a cheat code to getting good really fast?
Mm-hmm.
But the but we know there is no cheat code.
Mm-mm.
And I tell them that. I'm like, stop worrying about the tools. Don't fall for all the marketing on the latest gadget or gizmo. How about you pick a project? Let's start by picking a project. I don't know if that you do this in the painting world. That you do, maybe you pick an image you want to paint, but you pick a project, and that project will dictate what tools you may or may not need.
No, that's exactly right. I mean,
Don't
in
worry
our
about the
world,
latest.
it's a little more straightforward. When I say our world, I mean the painting world, because I obviously, as you know, cross over a little bit into your world, nowhere near where you're at, but I do like to woodwork. But in the painting world, it's the tools don't change all that much, but the
Mm,
processes might. The prep might.
mm.
Are you going to use photography? Are you going to have to build maquettes? Are you going to have to build models? Are you going to have to? I mean, some people are using a lot more technology these days. So it's a little bit different, but it's the same. Ultimately, it's the
Mm.
same situation where, yeah, you figure out what it is you want to do, and then you got to form a plan of attack.
Right.
And in your case,
And
it
it
might be the tools. What joints do you want to apply? That sort of thing.
exactly. And almost never does it require the latest, hottest gizmo or gadget. It's all about fundamentals, It always goes back to those classic fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
If you walk into a shop of a master, it's not full of new stuff. It's not full of the latest this or the latest that. It's like machinery that might be a century old because it does what it was supposed to do and it does it well. And there's examples of all the things they've made and all the patterns they might have made through different pieces. And they have the most classic of tools. None
Oh,
none of
dude,
this is
you're not kidding.
it's
They're like antique sports cars. As I'd mentioned to you through messaging, my little brother Matt HEIN is a great woodworker, right?
Mm,
And but he also has a great job, so he makes pretty good money, and he had the best of the best. He started selling them for antique tools that he would restore. And I was just at his house the other day, and he's showing me these new drill presses he's got, and he's like, I got a drill press addiction. Dude, some of them are like 50, 60, 70 years old. And when you press the button to turn on the drill press and the thing starts to hum, there's
mm.
nothing like it. It's like they just don't make tools like that anymore. You
No,
can't
they do
describe
not.
it. You,
Quality, right? It
oh my
speaks to your
gosh.
inner core that when you feel and hear quality,
Yeah.
that's what you want. You don't want
Mm-hmm.
the latest plastic gizmo. Like everything's like junky these days. I mean, there's a few brands that still have quality, but by and large, what you're saying is like there's junk all around us. So when something from a century ago comes into your life and you hear how that quality used to be, it's really inspiring.
It really is. And it makes it more fun to do the work when your tools are art themselves.
Yes, yes.
At least
And
that's the
so
way.
going back to your initial question about like when you teach classes, how does it go with new painters or new woodworkers?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you try to reinforce that there is no cheat code. You're going to have to put in the time. You're going to fail a lot, and that's okay. That's part of the process. Just buy a few good tools dictated by the project you're working on. Don't worry about preparing. Woodworking is full of preparers. I don't know if painting's like this, but full of preparers. And what's a preparer? It's someone who's like, I'm going to get into this. And they set up a shop, right? So let's say they cordon off an area in their basement or their garage, and they're like, this is going to be the best shop ever because then I'm going to make the best things ever. And they spend 2 to 5 years building a shop, you know, and it's like, oh, I'm going to build cabinets next, and I'm going to build a tool wall, and I'm going to get the best tools. And it's like you're wasting precious time building this stuff, this crap, when you should be moving towards the art. You'll learn so much more, and the shop will take care of itself. It will evolve as the tools become clear what you need project by project.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because my shop is sort of embarrassing. I mean, it's organized, but I moved into my building and I just got to work. And so I just had to throw up some metal shelving from Home Depot just so I could get to work. And now it's been 17 years or 18 years since I've moved in, and it's slowly turning into a better shop as far as its aesthetics.
Mm.
But sometimes I look at these beautiful shops with all the perfect cabinets
Ah,
and I'm just like, oh, I'm just envious. But I don't have
no,
time for that. I
a
just don't
shop
have
like that
time.
is not a productive shop usually. They're
Yeah,
spending
maybe
so much
so.
time on, I mean, on the question, Jeff, for you is, has your shop served your needs?
Oh no, it's perfect. Like it's just
Well,
not
then there you go.
beautiful. It's just
Oh, who cares?
oh dude, I love my shop. It's just not beautiful. I look at the other people's shops that are beautiful and I'm like, "Oh, I want a beautiful shop." But then if I make a beautiful shop, I'll spend 2 years doing that and I won't be able to make
Exactly.
a beautiful what well, I don't make furniture very often, but other beautiful things, you know.
Yeah. Well,
So,
like I said, that's why I tell preparers, like, get out of that mindset. Like, there's so many people who, like, if you're going to try photography, they have to have every possible lens. It's like, no, just get one or two and learn how to use them well, and then you can expand as need be.
yeah.
Get, in woodworking, get a few essential tools and then expand as need be. So, this whole preparedness ideology is something I try to discourage in new woodworkers.
So that question you get from students, you and I both get from students, is an interesting question because honestly, I kind of, I kind of smirk whenever someone asks me that, like, oh, how could you ask me that question? But at the same time, I got to be honest, it took me a while to learn how relevant design and concept are to the craft. I mean, I used to think that if I could just make a perfect joint, or in painting, if I could make a perfect likeness, then I'm great at this craft. But one thing about your work that is so spectacular, and we'll show your work in a little while, but one thing about your work that's so spectacular is the craft is totally sharp and dialed in, but the design is extraordinary. And that, to me, that's what makes it so good. Because, most people eventually with practice can learn to do a perfect joint, right? Especially if they have all the fancy tools. But it's the design that makes a difference. It's the concept that makes a difference.
Oh, Jeff, you just pushed the hot button in my brain. Um, Look, this goes for every art form.
It
This
does.
isn't just woodworking, right? The question is it execution? Are you going to focus on the execution or the design, right? As two opposite poles, let's say.
Right.
And in woodworking, so many people start with execution. You know why? Because it's hard. They
Yeah.
just want to make a thing. I want to make a thing. I need a thing. I need a cutting board, or I need a chair to sit my, ass on. And it's like, so you start with the execution. And so you say, okay, well, I'm going to make something. And you realize how difficult woodworking is. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty difficult. And we start by doing execution. And some people stay there their entire life. It's so rich. It's so challenging, the execution part.
Oh, and
And
it's
I'm
so
sure painting,
fulfilling. If you nail
but
a perfect dovetail,
yeah,
I
yep,
can't
it,
tell you how proud I am of myself when they're totally
yes,
perfect. I
I
don't think
get
I've
it.
actually had a perfect one, but you know what I mean. Close.
I get it, and I'm
Yeah.
assuming painting's the same. Like the execution to do it well, all
Mm-hmm.
these different styles that I've watched, artists on your podcast. It's so overwhelming. It seems impossibly difficult.
Yeah.
All the shading and the nuance and subtlety and light and oh my God, I don't even know where to start. But so there's that thing in woodworking where execution is where most people start, 99%, and it's difficult and they often stay there for a long time, which then brings up the question, when do you pivot from the execution? Like, I've done the thing, I know how to make things, I'm good enough execution wise, to design. Now, when do you turn that corner? And for me, it took a decade. It was 10 years of
Really?
me.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
but
was
that's not a
10
decade
years.
full time. I mean, to sort of jump
No,
ahead a little bit, you're a scientist.
I am. Yes.
Yeah. So
And
I
and
want to talk
so
about that later. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but so
yeah,
what would you say if you were full time, it would have taken you?
probably 6 years. 5 years, 6 years,
Yeah.
7 years, somewhere like that. And so I had been building up, getting better. The execution's getting better. I see something and I know how to make it. And I've tried so many techniques and I've failed so many times and I figured out what works. And it's like after 10 years of making, I finally made a piece that is like it was William and Mary high chest, and it was, inspired from the 1700s. It's quite ornate. It took me 300 or 400 hours to make, and I sort of stood back after that piece and I said, okay, I think I know how to make things out of wood. And then I had this like existential crisis, if I'm being completely honest.
What's next?
Yeah, what's next? Like, who
Yeah.
am I? Who am I as an artist? What do I want to make? I've been copying historic styles for a decade, like learning how to make the thing. But like, who am I? What is my contribution? What is my voice? What do I want to say? What do I want the world to see? And it,
Hmm.
it really messed me up. I was really messed up from that.
So you
And
you evolved from that because you don't copy, as you put it, copy antique designs. Um, but is there a way to copy, historic designs and still contribute?
well, that's what I'm doing now is like the latest piece I made, and maybe we'll get to it at some point, is a skull cabinet. It's got a skull on the front, so I call it the skull cabinet. And we could talk about it, but it's historically inspired, but it's a completely new
Is
take.
that it?
No, no, that's skull
Okay.
tray. I
Okay.
sent you the link in your
Yeah,
Instagram. The
we'll pull
link
it up.
straight to the, yep. Um,
Actually, you know what? Let's just
it,
pull it up now. Why wait?
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's just
Yeah.
pull it up. Let me get rid of my email first so no one sees all my.
I do want to come back though, Jeff, to this idea of like design versus execution. I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
meat on that bone.
But let's pull that up so since you're referring to it,
Yeah.
is here on your
Uh,
Instagram?
yeah, that one. No,
This one?
down, down.
Oh,
Yeah, that
right.
one.
Okay.
So, and there's 5 or 6 pictures in there if you click on the little arrow. So this skull cabinet is a very historic form. It's from the late 1600s. It was from Salem, Massachusetts, by the shop of Simons,
Mm-hmm.
and their shop made 3 or 4 of them that we know to exist. One of them sold at Christie's for $2.1 million because it's such a
Wow.
rare form. It's called a William and Mary Valuables cabinet, and it had this it had all these elements of pilgrim furniture, like you see the split turnings on the front, you see the octagonal centerpiece, you see, pretty simple moldings top and bottom, and some of like the strap carving on the sides, very Elizabethan inspired from England. And this was the form, right? And so the outside is inspired from that original like it's called the Pope Valuables cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
It's informed from that piece from the 1600s. Now, when you look inside though,
You don't have it
my
inside here. Oh, right
well,
here.
yeah, that is not the inside of the original cabinet. The original cabinet looked very pedestrian, very boring, just a few like very simple drawers because at the time in the United States, the expertise to do more didn't exist. It was that early. It's
What?
like, yeah, it's like Pilgrim period.
Really?
Yeah, the
They
artists
couldn't
hadn't
make
yet
drawers? I mean,
they could make drawers, but like the idea of veneering and these like super fine veneers
oh,
and
so it was the detail work they couldn't do.
yeah, like this kind of detail didn't really wasn't really part of the lexicon then. It took
Right.
more years. And so what I did on the inside is because the original inside left me a little flat. This inside is from about 50 years later. So
Really?
I combined like the exterior of a piece from the late 1600s with the interior of a piece from the 1700s because I thought it looked cool. And it presented some definite challenges about how to merge them and still work. And then if you go back to the front of the cabinet, who puts a skull on it?
I
I
know
mean,
that's
like,
a
right?
trip.
Like it's so irreverent. That is not the style.
What would
And
have
that
been there
skull,
originally?
usually the person's names, like it was like if it's a valuable cabinet, it would have been their initials and the
In
year.
marquetry?
No, just carved,
Carved.
kind of,
Okay.
yeah. And so this, and and the piece was made out of oak back then. This is all black walnut, and the veneers are fumed eucalyptus. Like it's just a totally new piece, fusing two different styles together, two different decades, with an irreverent skull on the front that is hand done marquetry by a friend of mine who lives in Moscow, Russia. Her name's Elena. She made that skull, which is
Wow.
phenomenal.
It is really phenomenal.
And you put all that together, and just like you said, you've taken historic ideas but reimagined them into a new, exciting
Yeah,
way.
that's great. So okay, so now I'm gonna ask you a technical question. What is fumed eucalyptus?
Well, if we found that if you subject certain woods to ammonia fumes,
Mm-hmm.
it turns them very, very dark brown.
And so this isn't walnut burl?
No, it's fumed eucalyptus, which is a blonde wood,
What? Are you
fumed with
serious?
ammonia. Yeah, fumed with ammonia, and it gets real dark and beautiful.
Do you, when you say fume, so you have like a pool of ammonia and you sort of
Hmm.
suspend it above it?
Yep,
Does it have
exactly.
to be in a vacuum or is it sealed
Nope.
up? No?
Seal it in a tent, let the ammonia fumes come around it, sit it there for 24, 48 hours, and the wood changes color through
How
its
deep is the
entirety.
color?
It goes through the entire piece.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, that's sick. Does it make the burl more pronounced or the figure more pronounced?
In this case, I would say yes, but it really depends on the wood species. Some don't turn color at all, and oak turns beautiful dark brown. You know, the whole you've
Hmm.
heard of Mission Furniture,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Yeah. So the name that comes to mind when you think of Mission Furniture from the early 1900s is Stickley
Yeah.
and Company, Gustav Stickley. All of that furniture was ammonia fumed white oak. That's why it's so dark.
No, it's not dark stained?
No, it's all ammonia fumed, all of it.
No way. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
yeah, it's a great
So that
little
must make it
chemistry
wear
trick.
a lot better.
Yeah,
Because if the color
because if it
goes all the way
gets
through and you ding it up,
exactly, exactly.
dang. So we've got some stupid mission reproduction furniture in our house because it's all we could afford when we got married. And man, it looks terrible because of all the dings and dents in it, because it's just blonde underneath and dark
Mm,
on top.
hmm hmm
Oh, I had no idea. That's crazy. Huh.
So can we come back to the whole design
Yes,
versus
absolutely.
execution? Because I feel like we scratched it, and I'm just itching to
No,
get
no,
back to
I
it. Because
want to come
I
back. I
think
just wanted to make sure
for
people knew what you were talking about with that cabinet.
so for all the listeners, right? You know, we talk about turning that corner from execution into design. And for me, as I said, you know, it was sort of an existential crisis where I had convinced myself I was good enough at the execution. And now I had time to like think about design. And I had no idea who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I just happened to go to the MFA one day in Boston. Have you been?
Mm-mm.
Oh
Oh no,
my
no,
God.
yes I have. Yes, I have. Museum, yeah.
What a what a museum,
Oh,
right?
dude. Yeah, I almost was in tears at a painting there when I went there the first time.
And I just happened to walk in, and Takashi Murakami just happened to have an exhibit there. I had no idea who he was. I just was like, oh wow, this looks interesting. And when I walked in and I saw the inventive genius, the
Hmm.
unabashed creativity of Takashi Murakami, I was somewhat awestruck. Now, whether you like or don't like his art is not the point to me. Like
Is he
you
a
may
furniture guy or a
no,
painter?
no, he's a contemporary painter, contemporary artist.
I thought he sounded familiar.
Yeah, he's one
Okay.
of the biggest he's one of the biggest contemporary artists in the world.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay. Anyway, yeah,
Uh,
sorry, finish your thought. I'm just looking him up while you talk here.
and whether you like his art or not, that's not the point. But the point is, he would take art from the 1700s, 1600s Japan and reimagine it in the most creative, incredible way. Whether it's the flower paintings or you know, he's got so many like subgenres that he dabbles in. I had never quite understood creativity like that dialed up. The intensity of that creativity really just kind of reset me. And I thought to myself, why can't I why can't I reimagine the past in new creative things? And I
Hmm.
walked home from that exhibit. I walked home completely changed. It literally changed my life in a day. And I said, okay, no more copying. No more copying the past. It's time to figure out who I am and take baby steps towards design. And I said, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to start. And the very first thing I made was a little serving board with a flower inlaid in it. And all my friends were making fun of me. They were like, oh, because they're all, high fly furniture makers, and you're all serious. And they're like, oh, Jasper's making a flower board. And they were all teasing me, right? Like they thought I lost my mind. And I was like, no, listen, I know design is where it's at, and I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just going to start somewhere. So I started with flowers and plaids and stars and all these like motifs that just kind of spoke to me. And I just started integrating them in things, uh, somewhat simply. And sure, I took some heat from my friends, but eventually they came around, and that was the start of what I call Copper Pig Woodworking, which is my experiment to figure out who I am as a designer.
No joke. So you were rolling with some major woodworkers at the time when you were going through this
Yeah.
creative crisis?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was friends with all the teachers at the Boston furniture schools, and yeah, I mean, you could sell the pieces and take on big commission stuff, and I set it all aside and said I have to figure out design, because design. I don't know, Jeff. You tell me from a painting perspective, but like design to me in woodworking and furniture is the real Mount Everest. It's not execution. Anyone can learn
No,
execution.
it's not. It's not. And you're right. And like I said, it took me so long to learn that. I mean, and not just with painting, with everything that I do. It was every craft that I learn, I go through it. It's so hard to, master the techniques that you just, for the longest time, as you put it, it took you what, the equivalent of 6 years full time, 10 years total. It's just, yeah, it just takes a while to feel like you're good enough to be able to express your creative voice, right? Yeah. Because that therein lies the problem. Design is the most important thing, but design is only as good as the craft that supports it. So
Correct.
so if you have great ideas but your
Yeah.
craftsmanship sucks,
Yep. The piece is not gonna
oh, it's just not going to hold
last.
up.
That's right.
Yeah, everyone's going to be distracted by the terrible craftsmanship. So
So
you have to go through that stage. You kind of have to.
I think it's natural to have the execution come first and then pivot to the design voice. I think that's
Yeah.
the natural way of things. So then I started asking myself, why do so many of us avoid original design? Why there's so many of us trying art, and yet I think so many of us avoid the idea of original design. Why?
Well, for me, it felt like trying to juggle and run a race at the same time. Like I needed to learn how to run. And then once I can run without thinking about it, then maybe I can juggle too. That's a stupid analogy, but I don't know.
No, no, I like it. I get it.
That's to me, that's how it felt. And yeah, I mean, I imagine
Well,
there are some geniuses out there that can do it both at the same time.
hmm.
But I think for many of us, you kind of have to work out one problem at a time, or you have to resolve or overcome one weakness at a time.
Hmm. So, what happens when people are good enough technically and they still just kind of copy and, don't pursue original ideas and don't pursue original design? I'm always like, why not? What's holding us back? Is it fear of failure? What, like, will we look stupid if we try something and it's not good and it's original, which like you kind of put more of yourself into an original idea. And like, what if it falls flat? Or what if it's not good? Like how does your ego play into that failure? Is that why
Yeah,
we avoid it?
dude, those are some hard questions. I thought we were going to save this for your podcast.
Sorry, we can.
No,
But
no, no,
like,
this is good. No, we'll talk about it, but I do want to know you personally as well. Dude, that's tough. Um, well, what, tell me your thoughts while I sort of chew on that for a minute. What do you think?
well, Well, I feel like as artists, we do sometimes avoid original. We avoid design because, yeah, number one, we stay in the execution phase because it's so hard. We just stay there. We get comfortable there. You're good at it. You just keep making things you've made before, and you just do that for a career forever. And you avoid pivoting into original design. So, like some people do that. Some people are afraid of failure and of how it will feel to put themselves out there and have not. Maybe it's not received well. Maybe you have to deal with the fact that like your first pieces kind of suck and you have to deal with that. Perhaps we disqualify ourselves by saying, I'm not an artist. Those artists are those really talented people out there. I'm just a maker, or I'm just a practitioner, or I'm just you know what I mean? We sort of several people, like many people, disqualify themselves right up front because they think being an artist is something unachievable in an ethereal realm, and that's not where they are. And I think a lot of people feel like it's all been done before. What new could I contribute to the field? It's all been done.
You think
And so
there's, oh, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
So yeah, so I think it's some combination of all these reasons that holds us back from trying our original design ideas.
Okay, well, here's another one I want to throw in there as a possibility. I'm curious about your thoughts. Genetics. Like, is it possible that some people just aren't programmed for it? And let me give you a real world example here. So, as you know, because we just talked about this morning, my house is being painted. And so I live in a Victorian house. It's like it's a Utah Victorian. So it's a little different than what you're used to in the East. It's brick but it's beautiful. We bought it. It's small, but it's beautiful. And that's why we bought it. Cause I'm originally from New York. I wanted to have a beautiful home that reminded me of the East. And so, but the trim is starting to rot. And we didn't know that until the painters started really doing their job, and we're like, oh crap, as they start scraping and realizing the wood is like sponge in some places. So of course the middleman calls me up and he's like, hey, the wood's rotten, gonna have to raise the bid, here's what it is, da da da. So all of a sudden these painters start doing the woodworking, and they're, God, dude, I'm telling you, man, I can't even get in these people's heads. I don't understand it. They are doing the dumbest stuff. Like they're putting up crown molding where it used to be, but they're not paying attention to the reveal of the trim underneath it. Putting it on the flat paint. You got a flat piece of trim and then you have the crown on top, and the reveal should be like an inch, and they made it like a quarter of an inch, and the whole thing is 6 inches tall. So I had to have them rip the entire thing down and give them very specific instructions that the reveal has to be at least an inch. And then there was another piece of trim that was custom to the house that they just grabbed something from Home Depot that's meant to be like a corner cove on a floor, but this was like a bead in a cove. And they just threw that up. And I'm like, no, that's not going to do. That's not going to do. And they're like, no, it looks good. It looks good. And I'm like, no, it doesn't.
You're trying to gaslight an artist into what
I think
looks
they
good.
believed it. I genuinely think they believed it. And there's more to it, man. I've been babysitting these guys like you wouldn't believe. And literally what I ended up having to do is actually do the trim myself because it can't be bought anywhere. And the guys are like, I can't buy this trim anywhere. And I said to the guys, do you not own a hand plane? Do you not own a table saw and a router? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, make it. They're like, make it. So I had to make it and then bring it to these guys. So then tell them exactly how to put it, exactly where it needed to be and what reveal and everything else. And they're like, where'd you buy this? I'm like, I made it. And they looked at me like I was from the moon. You made it? And I'm like, dude, you're the professionals. I'm a painter. And so sometimes I just wonder if people just don't have it. Like they don't care, or there's something they just don't care. These guys obviously consider themselves craftsmen, right? But they don't care enough to even notice the details.
Yeah.
I just wonder if it is about caring or if it's just they want to get paid and get out. I mean, I don't know.
There's two issues that come up through your story.
Yeah.
The original hypothesis that you advanced was, could it be genetic? Could creativity be genetic? right?
Yeah.
I think that was kind of the larger picture question.
Well,
And
yeah.
then there's a sub question of like, why did this go so poorly? Is it time is money and they just don't care? Like they don't do they not see it, or is it that they don't have enough time to care? Like I got to get on to the next job and feed my family, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, those are two very different questions. So I think the first one is really, well, they're both interesting, but the first one about like, is it genetic? Is creativity genetic? Right? What a question, Jeff. Like what? Like, how do we even, you know, it's pretty clear. I mean, and you can speak to this because you've met so many artists in your life, right? It's pretty clear. Some people have it,
Yeah.
right? The it factor. It just they're creative. It just comes to them out of like as if it's magic. It just
Mm-hmm.
like percolates up and it's there and it seems inexhaustible for some people. And we would call that right brain, right?
Right.
So yeah, sure. I think some people are wired that way, and some people are wired the other way, which is analytical, mechanistic, step by step, regimented gearheads. Like I work, as you know, I'm a scientist. I have a PhD, and I mean, that is my full time job and my passion for my entire life, besides woodworking. And I'm surrounded by left brains,
Mm-hmm.
chemical engineers, all with PhDs, and myself, like very, very analytical. And that type of person often lacks creativity, but
Mm-hmm.
they excel in project execution, excel in solving problems, excel in building things, but they struggle with the art side. It seems so nebulous and you can't quite grab it. And then there's the
But
right brain
isn't
people who
art
are like,
solving problems? So that seems like almost a
it
contradiction.
is. No, it is solving problems, right? Like the actual execution of it is solving problems. But in terms of the design, like that it factor that certain
Yeah,
artists
yeah.
sprinkle on their stuff that makes it so stand out so much more than the average, that it factor, I think, is in them to begin with. I don't, I mean, maybe you can learn it to some degree, but there's some special sauce in there that I think is genetic. So I think, look, both sides, whether you're the analytical left brain or the creative right brain, both of those sides probably have a genetic component, but there's many of us who are in the middle, in that continuum between the two poles, and we can learn the other side and we can overlap and we can combine. So it's not really a dichotomy per
Yeah.
se.
And I don't know if I buy into the right left brain thing,
Well,
but
yeah,
as
I'm just
this,
saying that because
no, I
people
know
know
you
it.
are.
Yeah.
But it's a perfect talking point. I mean, because it helps to explain the difference between analytical and creative. But I think the greatest artists are whole brained,
Yes.
right? They're not just
Yep.
one or the other. They're very analytical and very creative. And
Yes.
I've met a lot of
Because
people like that in my
because like you
field.
said, every project requires both.
It does.
You can't have a good idea and no execution. You can't have all execution and no good ideas,
Right.
right? They both fall flat. So exactly what you're saying is the case.
Yeah. Because, in my field, and I imagine you see this in yours as well, um, you get a lot of painters that are just really good at the craft. I mean, they can paint a face and make it look like that person over and over again, like it's nothing. But you're not seeing a lot of new ideas or interesting
Right.
compositions coming out of them, you know?
Right. Yep.
And then you get the other side of it where they have all these great ideas, but they can't seem to master the medium. Right? They're kind of clumsy and they never seem to quite master it, but they're very creative. But the greatest ones seem to be the ones that have it all. They're just, man, they're masters of the craft, masters at the creative side.
And it usually takes a lifetime to get
Yeah.
there. And so that speaks to this idea of like crossing the streams. So, which we're doing today. Why? And I would love to have every listener think about this. Why do we silo ourselves? Like, why aren't woodworkers talking to painters more? Why aren't glass blowers working with ceramicists
Ooh, I
more?
should get a
Like,
glass blower on. Yeah. It's a
yeah, right? Like,
good
no, I'm serious.
suggestion.
I'm serious. We silo ourselves, but given the fact that these crafts take a lifetime to get good at, you can't do both. You can't become a world-class glassblower and a world-class portrait painter and a world-class woodworker in one lifetime. So what are we left with? To me, the answer is collaboration. And for those that don't know, I've approached Jeff years ago about
Yeah, you
collaborating,
did.
about like, let's put our two skill sets together. Let's make a beautiful wooden item and put a painting on it like they did in the Renaissance. Let's bring some of that mojo back where we combine our skill sets into something new and awesome. It's the likes of which the world really doesn't see much anymore because everyone's siloed in their separate worlds.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so excited about that project. Now, now that I finally committed to it, and it just took me a while because I'm so busy. But man, I'm just like, oh, I'm itching to do it. We got to talk about that when we're finished here. But so I want to go back to my example of my painters and ask you something. So you said the other possibility, which I agree is definitely a possibility, is that they may just need to feed their families and get on to the next job.
Yeah.
But give me your honest opinion. You as an artist, and an artist meaning someone who is a master of your craft and really cares about your craft. If I hired you to paint my house and do the woodworking, you wouldn't be able to walk away regardless if you had a loss. Am I wrong?
This is correct. I can't. You have to give the piece what it needs.
Exactly. That's the difference. And that
Yes.
to me is also maybe a genetic component. It's like some people just can't settle for less than their best, and other people just want to get paid and go home.
And typically, the people who they can't settle, they're usually pretty bad at business. Right?
Yes. Yeah, you take losses all the time.
All the time.
But if you get good enough,
yes,
you get paid for that temperament. You'll get paid for that temperament.
If you're big enough and if your sales and marketing is smart enough, if you can explain to people, I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm a different type of artist. I'm not only going to do your project, but I'm going to make it so good, right? That
Right.
you will feel the pride and the care every time you look at it, and it will fuel you every step, every year that you live in that house. You'll see how well it was done. And so it's going to cost more, but it's going to yield more too. You know, you have to be good. You have to explain to people, educate them. We call it sales, but honestly, it's education about what it costs and what you're going to get. And people don't know about the handmade experience, about the heirloom quality experience. They just aren't. There's so many people in this world, Jeff. You're such an outlier. I'm sure the people doing work for you have no idea what your expectations are.
No, my wife feels so bad for people I hire.
I mean, because you are such an outlier in terms of your art, your eye, the care, the quality. These contractors don't know what they're walking into.
It's funny you say that. I kid you not, dude. I had an argument with my wife the other day. I'm like, Jen, just stick up for me for once, because I came in the house all frustrated about the woodworking situation.
Yeah.
And she just feels like the whole world is my victim. Like the whole world can't satisfy my expectations. And of course that's because she's married to me, the poor woman. Yeah. But so she's like, they can't help it, Jeff. Just leave them alone. I'm like, Jen, it's our house. Do you not care about our house? Yeah, but they can't. No one can satisfy you. Just leave them alone. Leave the guys alone. I'm like, Jen, no, it's got to be done right.
Well, Jeff, I have the same exact problem as you do.
Do you?
Which is why I do all my own work, because I know no one will come close to how much I care. We have a historic home too, 100-year-old home, antique farmhouse, 1920s. Nobody, and I mean nobody, will care as much as I do and do as nice of a job as I do, because I love this house and it needs to be treated right for the historic home it is. And so I'm in the position where I did my kitchen, I did my bathroom, I sided the house, I built the porch. So it comes at a cost.
It does.
But you love it when you do it yourself.
And most of the time I do. Yeah, this was one of those situations where I thought, I'm not painting. These guys someone else can paint. And then the woodworking ended up being a problem. I'm just like, Yeah, but yeah, I'm the same. I do most of it myself.
Yeah.
Man, there's just not enough time in the day, dude.
Well, it's a curse when you care
It
that
is.
much.
It's a
You know what I mean?
curse. Yeah. Yeah. My wife's like, but what about the backyard? What about the bathroom? I'm like, Jen, I still got to make a living. You're going to have to wait. Well, we can hire someone. No, we're not hiring someone.
I have to say, it sounds like we're married to the same person.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel so bad for our spouses, man.
Yeah.
It's not pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I'm curious, what kind of science do you do?
I've been doing Jeff's online mentorship program for about a year now, and it is awesome. Everything is online, super streamlined. If you can be there, I mean, you have the ability to talk to him once a week and he can review your work and help you. If you can't be there, it's pre-recorded. You can go back and even re-watch things if you missed something during class or couldn't be there. So the online portion of it is almost better than real life because you can always go back to it, which is awesome. The demos are recorded. It's just like all available whenever you need it. And I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4 and my time is limited and it's also very interrupted. And so to be able to go back has been clutch for me. And you get to work with Jeff HEIN, who's awesome. He's tough. The assignments are simple, but difficult, and they're difficult to make us all better. And he's able to give us these assignments, coach us through it, help us stay excited to progress. And so it's just been a great experience. I am so grateful that he has been willing to take time away from his own art to offer all of us to have it. So if you're thinking about doing it, it's amazing.
To learn more about how you could have me as a personal mentor, check out the link to HEINatelier.com in the show notes or video description.
I was classically trained as an like a molecular and cellular immunologist. So I studied the immune system for about a decade. And over the last 20 years now, I've pivoted I work in the pharmaceutical field and I do computer modeling of biology. So what we do is
What?
we build mathematical models of biological systems. So like whether it's part of your liver or your kidneys or your immune system or this or that, like we'll take whatever we're talking about, whatever system of the body is in question, and we'll cast it as a series of mathematical relationships so that you
Wait.
can
You're going to have to be a
simulate.
little more clear. I have no idea what you're saying.
Okay, sorry. Let's say you're being treated for cancer, let's
Okay.
say,
Yeah.
and there's a new cancer drug. And the question is, it's brand new. It's never been in a human before. And the question is, well, how much do you give? How much is safe? How much is
Mm-hmm.
effective? It's never been in a human before.
So we're still
How
in
do
the
you know it?
testing stage then.
Yeah, so how do you
Right.
know it works, right? So what they do is they take cells in a dish, or they take mice or monkeys or rats, and they treat them with the drug, and they see what concentrations are effective. And so you would build a mathematical model of how this drug interacts with the part of the body that it interacts with, how it
Okay,
works,
that's where
what
I
it's
get
at.
confused. What does this? I'm a visual learner.
Okay.
Big shocker there. What do you mean by a mathematical model? Is this a
Like,
series of equations or
yes,
is okay?
it's a series of equations. Like A plus B goes to C with some rate, and then
Okay,
C turns
okay.
into D with some rate. And there's concentrations and there's rates, and you stitch this whole system together by a series of equations.
Okay.
And those equations represent the underlying biology. And then you can use the system of equations as a simulation engine to predict how much drug is effective, how much drug would lead to toxicity, how long does the drug stay in the body, how much do we have to dose, how often do we have to dose. So that's what I do in
Wow.
essence. Yeah.
Dude, that's like a serious grown-up job.
You better tell the grown-ups.
This is weird because
Yeah.
I don't get grown-ups on my podcast very often.
Well,
Like,
it's a joy. It's a joy to do this job. Science is so fun. It's like
oh,
the
dude, I
book
know.
that
I
never
love
ends.
science. But I don't. I'm a real science. The most ignorant science dork you've ever met because I just love it, but I don't have your education, you know?
Yeah, but
It's so fascinating though.
it is. It's like the book that never ends. Every chapter you read leads to 5 more unexplored chapters. And it's fascinating. You're never bored as a scientist. So
Wow.
I love it.
So you really focused a lot on math, I would assume, too.
I did. I mean, first I became the biologist, almost like our talk about first you become the execution and then you pivot to the design.
Yeah.
So first I learned to be the biologist and then I pivoted into combining it with math and computer science. Similar to the woodworking. I learned to be the woodworker before combining it with pyrography, with metal engraving, with different materials. So you kind of learn the pure discipline first and then you go multidisciplinary and that's when it really gets fun.
That's cool. Yeah, that thing you said about life is too short to be great at everything. When I hear about jobs like this and careers like yours, I'm just like, "Oh, I wish I could live 400 years," because that stuff is
Right?
everything is, there's so many incredibly fascinating careers out there that I'll never be able to experience. And that's one of them.
Likewise, I'm fascinated by painting. That's like Jeff, before I knew you, I was listening to your podcast because I'm fascinated by painting and painters. Y'all, all of you as your audience and you guys blow my mind. I can't imagine how you do what you do. It seems so unachievable to me. And
It's
I
not.
know you're going to say we could learn. I know. But just from the outside
Yeah.
looking in, you don't have outsiders on this podcast usually outside the painting world, right?
Right.
But just for a moment, let me say how impressive all of you are as an ensemble. It the creativity seems boundless. The execution seems unthinkable to me from the outside looking in. It's
Well,
so impressive.
thank you. Well, I will say that while I'm not a master at other things, I mean, I am pretty good at a lot of things. And I will say that painting is the thorn in my side. It's like the one thing that I just can't seem to master. It's so freaking, well, I appreciate that you think I have, but
Like what?
I appreciate that look. Thank you. But and you probably feel this way about woodworking. Maybe what it is that because I'm so like head first in deep into this field, that maybe I just look at it differently. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe you feel the same way about woodworking, where it's just this, or maybe you feel the same way about your science career. It's just that no matter how much you learn, the goalposts keep moving. It's like you
Yes.
just can't seem to get it all mastered. It's just, and the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Like I was
You realize,
so arrogant in my 20s.
me too. Me too.
Dude, I thought I was the
Yes.
bee's knees, man. I'm
Yup,
like, dude,
me
I can
too.
paint anything.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Now I don't feel that way at all. I'm just like, I wish I could be that guy. I wish I could be that woman. I wish I could be that. It's like, oh, isn't that funny?
Yeah. Yeah, it's humbling. I've been humbled so many times to the point that now I don't get ahead of myself anymore because I realize how big the world is and how limited I am by comparison.
Yeah. It is kind of a riot though. Now watching people in their 20s and watching them get arrogant and just being like, yeah, it'll pass.
Yeah, my daughter's in that phase right now.
Yeah. Sometimes it
Think she's
doesn't
hot.
pass, but you hope it will for them, those poor
She
people.
thinks she's just finishing high school and she thinks she's hot stuff right now. And I got news for you. The world's waiting to kick you in the ass and it's coming
Yeah,
soon.
no joke. How many kids do you have?
Just one.
Just one? And she's just graduating?
This is her senior year. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just had my last kid graduate. So new stage in life. Well, so how did you end up starting woodworking?
All right. So it happened late at age 33,
Well, how old are
believe it
you?
or not. I'm 50.
Oh, we're exact same age, 74?
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
kidding. Cool.
So I started when I was 33, and it's when I bought my house. I bought my first house, and almost like a storybook. There was an 80-year-old neighbor across the street. His name was Hal. And Hal was a woodworker and also an electrical engineer, so a bit of both. And he was this kind of person in the neighborhood who would help all the new homeowners, and he'd help you like, oh yeah, your dishwasher's leaking. Let me see. Oh, you need to wire a new circuit. I can show you how to do that. Because he was, cut his teeth in the 50s and 40s when that when people did things themselves.
Mm-hmm.
DIY was a way of life back then, and us kids. Buying houses, in our 30s in the early 2000s, we don't know how to do this stuff necessarily. So Hal like took me under his wing and started showing me how to do things with my hands. And we became fast friends, regardless of the 50-year age gap. We became like best friends. And I went down into his basement one day, and it's difficult to put what I saw into words, but this basement was a magical place. It's like there was stuff everywhere. There's wood piled to the ceiling over here. There's a hardware store over there. There's a machine tucked in over. Like you had to walk through these small little aisles, right? Through this woodworker maker wonderland. And it was so shocking and stimulating. I like, what is all this stuff? What are these machines? Like a drill press tucked in over there, planer over there, table saw over there, wood stacked, and I think he saw the look in my eye, the wonder and the awe, and he goes, "You want to make something?" And I was
No
like,
way.
"Hell yeah, I want to make something. This is great. Like, that's so excited." So I came home from work the next day, and Hal had taken a big sheet of graph paper, and he had hand drawn with his little ruler and all this on graph paper a stool. And he goes, "We're going to make a stool together, and it's going to teach you what all the machines
What
do."
a stud, man.
Ah, I was like, yes, please. And we made the stool, and I learned so much. And it's rife with errors. There's all kinds of, and it's like my first real woodworking project. It's still in our kitchen today, and our family loves it. It's like a family heirloom now, and it's full of mistakes. Oh my God. It's got every little problem under the sun, and we love it even more because it's a snapshot of life, of who you were, and this gift that Hal, my neighbor, gave me. So he started me, and he died a couple years later from heart failure. But before that, I had 2 years of him helping me build my shop, teaching me the basics of woodworking, and like what a gift I was given
That's
through
so
this.
freaking cool. What a good dude. So when did you start building your own shop?
Well, with Hal, he built the first workbench. He showed me how to wire it, and we poured cement. It was nothing but a dirt floor in a 100-year-old garage. It was just a dirt
You're
floor
talking
with no
about your
electricity.
garage now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I dug it out with myself, a shovel and a wheelbarrow. I dug it out about a foot. It's about 20 by 20. And I had a concrete company come in and pour a concrete floor. And then we ran electricity underground out to it. And we started building it out. And that's my full-time shop now.
So it's 20 by 20, so it's basically a two-car garage.
Exactly. It's a two-car garage.
Okay. Did you put heat and stuff in it?
Yes.
Nice. So it's comfortable.
Yes. Yeah, it's comfortable enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
And And so that's what started me woodworking. And then, comes the 10 years, Jeff, of like trial and error, figuring it
Mm-hmm.
out, just trying stuff and hitting a wall and being like, reading all this advice on the internet and getting dizzied with like forum advice and hobbyist advice that everyone's got a strong opinion, telling you what you should do and how to do it. Um, and then just like getting dizzied and trial and error. And then I realized, like, why am I not taking classes? This is stupid. Like, I have one of the finest furniture schools in the world in Boston, the North Bennett Street School. I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but it's been around since the 1800s, and it is the finest craft and woodworking school probably in the country.
How
And I'm
how
like,
far do you live from it?
That's 25 minutes.
Oh, dude, that's
And I'm like,
amazing.
why am I not taking classes here? And so I started taking classes, and that uncorked it, like to learn from professionals. Like, Hal was a hobbyist, but these were professionals, and they took me to that next level of like museum grade fine furniture. And they showed me the bar's not here for execution, the bar's here. And you're like, oh.
Yeah,
Talk
you're
about
not
being
making
humbled,
stools
right?
anymore.
Yeah, like you were saying, like I thought I was, all that, and then you realize, oh, the bar's up here. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, excellent. So, that was another 5 years of like, taking classes and investing in hand tools. The big shift, and I don't know if there's a analogy in painting, but the big shift in woodworking is going from machines only to like machines and hand tools to get that level of finesse and refinement that the finest furniture really needs. Is there an analogy?
I know exactly what you're talking about, obviously, because I've done some woodworking, but I'm trying to think if there are so many similarities. But as you were talking about building your shop, one of the questions, and I'll answer your question, but one of the questions I had for you was, geez, now you're collecting tools. What's your wife gonna, what is she thinking? Like now you're starting to spend some serious dough. Because as an artist, paint's not cheap, but you can for $500 you get your paints, $500 you got your brushes. You're good. You don't need
You
a
want to
whole
guess
lot
how
more
much?
than that.
You want to guess how much a shop costs?
Oh, I know. I have a great shop. Like it's
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, just a saw stop is $6,000. That's one tool.
That's right.
Yeah, no, it's expensive. And then
Yeah,
if you
so
start getting into really nice stuff, then
Yeah. So I
so
would say I've probably put about $30,000 into my shop over the 20 years I've done it, I'd
that's
say.
actually less than I would have expected.
Well, again, I didn't buy the latest greatest gadget. I bought used tools, fundamentally sound, and learned to do good work with my
Yeah.
hands instead of buying my way
But
through
even a
it.
decent hand plane can be $400 or $500.
Well, that's true if you buy a new state-of-the-art one, but what you can do is you can buy a 100-year-old hand plane like a Stanley.
When they
You
used to
can
be good. Yeah, the
oh,
Stanleys aren't good
yeah.
anymore.
You can tune it up.
Yeah.
You can like make sure everything's cool, like tune it up and buy a new replacement blade for it. And you have a top of the line hand plane for $100 instead of $400.
Yeah. Is that mostly how
That's
you've
what
gone about it?
yeah, that's what I did with every single hand plane I own is I bought an antique, I rehabbed it and it works great. And
So you've got
that's
nothing
good.
saved from Lee Nielsen or Veritas or anything like that.
No. Well, I have
Really?
one or two. I have one or two of these designer hand planes, but
Yeah.
most of them are antique. Yeah.
Yeah, I just started buying antique stuff and my brother turned me on to it. It really is awesome. Have you seen, not to get all geeked out here for those painters who
Yeah,
are
I feel
listening.
bad for all the painters.
Don't worry about
Yeah.
it. This is our time, man. So, you ever seen those planes that you can curve the sole
I have
with
one.
a screw? I do too. I just restored one. It's the coolest thing ever.
It's a compass plane. Yeah,
That's what
it's
you
really
call
cool.
it.
Yeah, it's
I
not
built
very
a
useful, but it's cool.
Well, it's useful for the right thing. I've used it twice
Yeah.
now. It probably come
Yeah.
out once every 5 years,
Exactly. Yeah.
but man, when you've got
Oh,
that one thing where you just need the perfect curve and
Yeah,
playing that
yeah.
perfect curve, it's nice. But it's just
Well, for
such
those
a cool
listening
invention.
who don't want what we're talking about, planes are usually solid steel, so they're flat. But there's planes where the bottom of the plane is like a flexible steel, and you can dial it with a lever, like concave or convex, which is a very cool concept.
Yeah, I'm
And the one
seeing
I
about
have, the
picture
plane
of
I
it
have
here.
is about 120 years old.
Okay, so here it is right here. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. So that's got the curved sole right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, and this is similar to the one I got. Mine's a little prettier, but I built myself a powder coating oven a while back. So I stripped it all and powder coated it. Oh, it's beautiful. It's so pretty.
That's great.
Yeah, those hand tools are too much fun, man.
Oh, so to answer your question about my wife, I think this is also a great topic for everyone, which is how do you negotiate this craft with your loved ones, which costs money and time and takes you away from that? Like, how do you balance all this? And I was very lucky in that my wife has always been supportive. I mean, almost to a fault. She never says it. She never gives me, any resistance. She's always on my side. She's always like, "Yeah, I get it. Yeah, do it." Because I
Really?
think because she sees how much happiness and it brings me. And I feel like the best marriages are where you build each other up and let each other be who you are separately, but also together. So I just got lucky. I picked the right person. and she's always
No,
supported me.
I did too, but I have a different way of going about it. My wife is not the one, and she's really frugal, but I have a business account and she has we have our personal accounts. So I just buy stuff and then I take a beating once a year when she does the taxes. And I'm just like, it's like, why are you spending so much money? I'm like, I'll do better this year. And then the next year comes along. You did it again.
I'll do better next year.
Yeah. And that's been going on for 25 years. So she's kind of caught on. I'm not going to get any better.
Well, she must like you.
A little bit sometimes.
And you know, you can earn some brownie points by helping them with their hobbies. Like my wife just decided she wants to be a beekeeper. So like I was all in.
My wife's a beekeeper. Dude, you got to see. Did you see the hive I made?
No.
Okay, I got to show you the hive. Check this out. As a woodworker, you might appreciate, but keep in mind, I'm not you. But so she, you know, there's a traditional beekeeping. I don't know the names, but you know, where you stack the hives and they're basically just boxes.
Yeah, it's like the brood box is super.
Yeah. Well, there's this Slovenian style of beekeeping, and it's a whole different breed of bees.
Okay.
And it's totally different. The hive is totally different, but she was going to buy it, and to get it to our house, just to get it to our house was $2,000. And I'm like, no. And they look like garbage. So I'm like, no. Let me make it for you. And so this is it right here. So it's vertical, and the what do you call these things? I don't even know. I'm not the beekeeper. They come out vertically.
The frames
they
are
come out
horizontal?
vertically. I'm sorry, horizontally. They slide out like a book in a shelf.
Oh, wow.
And dude, it's pretty wild. Let me see if
incredible.
Let's see if I got other pictures. All right, so here's a.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I want to show. Oh, here's the front.
You did so good, Jeff.
Thanks, man.
That's beautiful.
So they can enter from here, and she can close the little door. They can enter from here, and she can close it and vent it. This is the main entrance, but there's 3 levels to it.
Oh my God, I may do this. I may try this to style.
Oh, it's so
next.
great. And the cool thing is, you can just open the back door and just look in and observe your bees without opening it.
Question now. If the frames are horizontal, does the honey drip down?
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's pretty viscous. Okay. Well, because the honey is in little sacks.
Yeah, they seal it.
It's in little wax sacks. So no.
How long has she been a beekeeper?
Like 5 years. It's like her whole life. It's all she thinks about. If a bee flies into our room at night, because it's right over the bees, our room is, which happens almost every night, she takes a little blanket and she carries it outside. She's so into her bees. I love it.
They're her babies.
They are. All 200,000 of them.
Oh my God. This is our first year.
Is it?
So yeah, we're just trying to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, she loves it, man. It's cool that she's really into it.
But you know, by you supporting her on that, like I feel like it's not tit for tat, right? Because we don't keep score, but by championing their love of a craft, or you know, that they want to champion yours, and I think it helps. Yeah.
It's definitely a give and take for sure. So there was. I'm really disappointed because what we were talking about earlier, I had a question that I was going to come back to, and now I forgot. And I'm hoping that I get to it because it was something I really wanted to. But in the meantime,
sure.
Let's start looking at your art. Since let me just get your what's better, website or Instagram?
Website's more curated. Instagram is more organic. Like there's.
Well, you had shown me a couple off of Instagram, so. Right, that you wanted to talk about some new stuff?
I sent you links to either the website or Instagram that I thought would make interesting pieces to discuss. You know,
let's look at those.
Painters.
Well, let's start with your website.
Okay. So go to the first, go to the first boxes and scroll down a little bit.
Isn't this one new?
Yeah, it's relatively new. It's a watch box.
Pretty, dude.
It's got a hidden compartment that you have to reveal with a trick mechanism. That one.
Okay, where do you want me to go?
The
here.
coffin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about this.
This is
So
crazy.
so like, you know, I think for a lot of artists, whether it's painters or woodworkers, you're constantly wondering like, where do design ideas come from?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing this for a living, you have to have almost creativity on demand, which is a very big ask. Because
Mm-hmm.
most of the time you don't feel inspired. Inspiration is perishable. If you don't act on it, then it's gone in a week. And so, like, how do you come up with new ideas? And I feel like this jewelry coffin is a good example of where inspiration comes from, and it's iterative. It's not like you don't go from A to Z. Like a Z doesn't come out of thin air in your brain. But like you worked on D and E, and then F and G kind of come out of that naturally. So it's like this step-by-step evolution. So let me give you an example. So this coffin, this comes from a project with an amazing knife maker. His name's Jeff Park.
A folding
The
knife or
Yes. Oh, why don't you pull up Jeff?
because
Jeff,
dude, I'm a total knife collector and I make
Oh,
knives
oh,
too.
Jeff, for your viewing audience, for their sake,
What's his name?
pull up Jeff Park and look on his Instagram, J Park, J dot Park.
Oh, on Instagram. Okay.
Yeah. And I'll come back to where this coffin idea came from, J dot Park. That's the top one with the, yeah, a second one down. Yeah. He's an engraver,
Oh,
and
shut
these are
up.
his, yeah, these are his,
Dude.
yeah, click on
Wait,
one of
I've
those
got to be
knives.
following this guy.
Yeah,
How am
click
I
on one
not
of
following
those.
this guy?
Yeah, click on one of those knives. Maybe like the
That's a spider co that he engraved.
yeah.
So does he build the knives or engrave the knives?
He engraves the knives and inlays them with 24 karat gold, 18 karat gold, gemstones, glass. He's one
That's
of the finest engravers
insane.
I've ever seen.
I bought a engraving system a few years back. I haven't used it yet.
I have one. Yeah, I do engraving on the
Do you have a
side. You
GRS?
click. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Click on one of his other knives. Maybe like,
Um,
yeah, that one. Click on that one.
which one? This one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dude, he's so good. What the
Have you
crap? I gotta get
seen
him on here.
have you seen art like this?
It's pretty
Like
bling.
what?
It's pretty that's hardcore.
Like what is this even?
I don't
You know?
know.
Okay, so Jeff contacts me out of the blue and he's like, "Hey man, I love your work. Would you make a box for one of my knives?" And talk about like imposter syndrome. I was like, are you sure I'm good enough to do that?" It's like, because your
Wow.
knives are like next level, right?
Wow.
I was so flattered that he asked me to make a box for one of his knives. Like I was floored, right? And now we're friends. I've taken class with him all for a week, and we know each
Engraving
other
class?
personally. Yeah, I took an engraving class for a week with him.
Awesome.
It was amazing, amazing. So so he's like, you know what I think would be rad for a knife like this? A coffin. He's like, put it in a coffin.
Oh,
And I was
that's what
like,
that is.
and I'm like, okay, let's go. So if you go back, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
let's go back to your coffin.
But Jeff's profile is like eye candy.
I know. I'm just gonna scroll for a second here. These are unreal.
Yeah,
Unreal.
world class, without a doubt. So he said, "Hey man, how about a coffin?" I was like, "Okay, great." So I made a coffin for his knife, and that was, I took it from a and before you page through, this is a different piece. So I made
Oh,
the coffin for the knife, and I'm going to tell you some things about this. So and it worked out great. It was Victorian. It had an evil look to it. It had a cross on the front. It was very evil green, and it matched the knife beautifully. And it went to its owner, and
where
everyone
is it?
was
Why can't
happy.
we
And
see that one?
that's down further in my profile, but way down.
Oh,
I
really?
don't know where. Yeah.
Okay.
So, so it went off to its home in Hong Kong, and it lives there. So then I thought, wow, a coffin is a very provocative, interesting form. And I thought, why don't I make a jewelry box and make it a coffin? And so that is what you're looking at. It is large. It's almost 2 feet big, what you're looking at. It's almost
No,
two
it
feet
isn't.
tall. It is.
I thought it would fit in the palm of your hand.
No, that is about a 2 foot tall object. It is a full on jewelry box. And
What?
it's all carved around the outside with like Victorian scroll. And it turns out that the person who saw me building it asked to buy it like when it was only 30% done. And it was for someone's sweet 16 present. And I'm like, what? A 16-year-old? Are you kidding? Like, wants
16-year-old
this?
girl.
Yes, it was a 16-year-old girl. And they wanted
Was she
this
like
for
a
her.
goth girl or something?
Yes, yes. And they're like, could you put a deadhead moth on the lid? She
No. And they
loves the
spent
deadhead moth.
$4,000 on it for a 16 present.
And I was like, sure enough, I can.
Wow.
And so now if you scroll through the pictures, you'll see. So like my wife said, why don't you put a secret compartment just under the lid for earrings and rings? Like each of those would
is
fit
that
an
what
earring
that
and a ring.
is?
And I thought, you know what? Why don't I take a piece of biology and integrate it into the art? I can make it look like a rib cage. Like I can make these compartments look like a vertebra, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that's a cool idea. And so I took some biological inspiration and I put it in a secret compartment that my wife suggested. That was her idea. Like I mean, like I love collaborating with my wife. She comes up with so many good ideas.
Sounds like it.
And then the interior of it, if you go through, there's a black velvet on the interior.
That's right.
Like
here,
a big black velvet with a secret compartment underneath. And so I made my first jewelry coffin. And honestly, Jeff, it was met with a mix of emotion. Some people thought it was the raddest, coolest thing ever. And some people were really angry at me. Being
Angry?
like, they were like, why would you mix something so dark and why would you ruin such a beautiful object
Wait.
with
Oh,
such
wait a
dark
minute.
imagery?
I don't understand. Why would anyone offer a negative opinion at all? What are these
Well,
friends of yours or people on Instagram?
No, just randos on Instagram. But like,
Really?
I think I learned that skulls and coffins and death like upset some people.
That
And-
might be true, but so what? Move on. Scroll along.
Yes, of course. But also, I think if you're doing good art, you're gonna ruffle some feathers
I
if you're doing
suppose.
it right.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? This is pretty awesome. And so I actually made
That's a
2 or
good
3
attitude.
jewelry coffins, and they've all went to women. Women bought all of them. Women love
You're
them.
kidding me.
Yeah.
I never would have guessed that.
Me neither. But you see how design is iterative. It started with a collaboration with a friend
Yeah.
as a knife case, and then you pivot it into a jewelry box and you add to that some biological elements of like the vertebra being the earring compartments. And you see, so like I use this as an example of how design is iterative. People, I think too many new artists and they think like I have to take these massive steps in my artistic journey. I have to go from F to S or T. It's like, no, that's not how it works for most of us. It's iterative. It's a one letter at a time. And it's related to something you made before. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Oh, totally. I totally agree with that. Yeah, but I got to be honest with you, man. I'm really wanting to see this commission one. So I'm scrolling through your Instagram.
It's down there.
It's down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's black.
And it's
you
also
said.
on it's also on Jeff's. No, it's a green. It's a green. It's another green coffin.
Oh, it's also
on
green.
Jeff's.
So I'll probably recognize it when I
It's
see
also
it.
on Jeff's profile too, somewhere down there.
Dude,
it's
you
got
got
a-
a
it's-
lot of entries.
Yeah, it's good.
I think I kind of want to go back to. Oh, here it is. Here it is. All right, let
Find
me
it?
pull it back up. Is this it?
That's one of them. I don't know which one that is. No, that's a jewelry one. That's another one I made. Oh, it's way earlier than where you are.
Oh,
I mean,
is
it's
it?
like it's like 150 posts, 200 posts before that. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you. So
Yeah.
while I'm scrolling through, I'm looking at, I think this is the question that I wanted to ask you. Now I'm remembering it. You clearly use a lot of hand tools. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of chisels. I'm seeing like hand cut joints, but obviously you have power tools as well. You've mentioned that. We've had a few discussions on this podcast about AI.
Oh, Chris, your most recent episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a few others, but he's pretty down with it, you know. But I'm curious in the woodworking arena. I mean, so let me put it this way. I don't know. So you heard Chris's. So you heard the thing that
did.
I asked him about furniture. If you could have a piece of furniture made by a CNC machine and the exact same piece of furniture made by hand in someone's garage, would you pay more for the one made by hand? What do you say to that question as a furniture maker?
Jeff, I ran this experiment on my Instagram profile.
You did.
I I ran this experiment exactly as you said. I was carving, and it's close to where you are. It's a little
Hmm.
bit like if you keep going down, it was some carving I did by hand. Okay. And
Okay.
the question became, and I'll stop you if I happen to see it. Um, the question was, does the hand carve version speak to you more than the CNC carved version? Okay. I used a CNC to carve something, and I used hand tools, all manual, to carve something.
Yeah.
And I asked everyone, would you pay more for the hand carved version? That was the question. All right. What do you think the response was? Do you want to guess?
Well, I know what I would say,
Go
but I
ahead.
also have, I'm a realist, so I also know that there's a lot of people don't agree with me. I'm going to say it was about 60-40 people, 60-40, 60% of people would pay more for the hand thing, hand carved.
Well, you're right in that the majority preferred the hand carved, but it wasn't 60-40.
It was
It
more than
was
that.
like it was like 90-10.
See, I'm right. I feel vindicated.
90% Oh, here's the post. I have it. I'm going to send it to you.
Okay.
Um, yep, here it is.
How are you
I'm
sending
gonna, I'm
it?
gonna,
Messaging?
yeah, I'm gonna message it to you on Instagram
Oh,
right
message
now.
it to my I can't access my personal account. Message it to me on
The
my podcast
undraped.
account.
Okay.
So the undraped
Um,
artist.
yep, got it. Just give me a sec. So you knew that it was gonna. Here's
Well,
the.
I'm hopeful that it was 60% because honestly, with AI
Okay,
coming,
there.
and there are sculptors
Okay.
like Brandon
So
Johnston who I interviewed, who's really worried that these machines are going to put him out of business.
yeah,
And so it's a real concern, and not even just to make money, but dude, when art dies, humanity dies.
I agree.
And so it's not that I'm opposed to using these machines for certain objects that are merely functional, right? Get it done,
Yep.
get it in your house, it's functional. But when it comes to art, I struggle with that,
Okay.
and I know I can evolve. I'm not going to die on this hill. Well, I might die on this hill. I mean, I'm pretty opposed to it. I'm pretty
Okay.
personally,
Okay.
but
All right. So I'll tell you my opinion after we go over this
okay,
piece. So you see here, there's two carvings. Okay. The
okay.
top one is hand carved. The bottom one is carved entirely by
And
CNC.
the bottom one is arguably cleaner.
It's totally cleaner.
Yeah.
And I asked, would you pay more for the hand-on one? You see it. Like I literally ran the experiment that you've been cogitating on. 90% said I would pay more for the handmade one, but there's a huge asterisk on that.
What's that?
They say that, but they're not paying for it. That's just, they're like, oh, sure, I'd pay more. But really, will I actually see you open your wallet? Or is that just like, virtue signaling online? Until someone actually opens their wallet and pays more for it, it's hardly a data point. I think it's heavily biased to say that. But when it comes to forking over those 20s or hundreds or whatever, I'm not sure
Hmm.
the split would be 90-10 anymore. I
Might
think
be
it might
more
be
like
more like
what? More like 60-40 or even less.
or maybe even less, because when it comes down to brass tacks, you know, it's hard.
I just
And
don't.
so,
I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
okay, so my thoughts are number one, if it's handmade, it has human imperfection built into it, which I find beautiful. Not everyone agrees. I think a lot of people enjoy the crisp, perfect Asian aesthetic with no flaws, totally flawless perfectness. And if it's cheaper, even better. But for me, beauty is in humanity. And those imperfections and idiosyncrasies are what shows us a human did it. And when you look at the piece, you can imagine their hands holding the chisel,
That's
hitting the
that's my
mallet,
thing. You're hitting on
right?
what I'm concerned about.
You can see it in your head when you look at the piece, and it brings with it this sense of value. Like someone gave their precious life hours, which are so finite, make you this thing. There's a value there to me. They didn't just put it in a machine and press a button, right?
Mm-hmm.
They gave you their life hours, which is the biggest gift of all, is time. And to me, there's a value there. Okay, so that's the side I'm on. Of course, I find value. That's why I did that by hand. I did not. I could have used a CNC and I didn't. I did it by hand because it was for a friend of mine and I knew it. I wanted that. But let's zoom out 10,000 feet. Let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about the role of innovation and technology in art. Like, is it destroying art? Is it adding to art? Obviously, you can probably intuit this from my science career. I very much welcome innovation and technology, right? I was a biologist first, and I mixed that with computer science and math, okay?
Yeah.
Technology be swirling into a very classic discipline. In my woodworking, I very much classic, but I own a CNC and I own a laser,
Mm-hmm.
and they are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, the problem here is every time this comes up, it's like an either or, right? It's either
Mm-hmm.
this or it's that. But what black and white thinking is that? It's not an either or, it's an and. It's both. Why can't we conceptualize the merging of new innovation and new technology with classical skills?
Hmm. Got me thinking. That's what, yeah. I love hearing different people's opinions because as I get older, I find that my brain is it's constantly evolving in my perspective in the world. So it's always great to hear different perspective. And, I had someone come in because I've become sort of known for working from life. I worked from life for 14 years. It was kind of my shtick. I mean, and people who know me knew that's what I did. I was like anti-photography, not for myself, not for other people, but like not taking a picture, not doing it. Everything's from life or imagination, period. The reason I did that was simply to prove to myself that I could compete in another century and that I wasn't a product of my time. Or I wasn't something that was only good because I had all of the technology to help me. And after 14 years, COVID hit. I'm like, maybe I've proven it. Maybe I need to, let this go and start using photography. So I did. That said, I had
Okay,
someone.
wait. How did you feel about that transition?
Oh, dude, it was hard. The thing is, photography makes painting much more efficient. Photography today is not like it used to be. It used to be hard to work from photos. Today it's not because photos are so good. And so it sped up my productivity by 10 times. I mean, it's incredible.
Did you feel like a sellout?
Totally. Felt like a total hack. Total hack. I'm kind of getting over it. I still feel like I should be doing it all from life or imagination, but this is where I landed. The project I'm doing, I'm so passionate about the subject and the end goal that my life is just not going to be long enough to finish it if I don't suck it up and make a compromise. But it is a compromise. And I know deep down in my soul, it's a compromise. It's not, as many artists put it, they would say, it's just a tool. It's not a big deal. For me, it's not, it's a compromise. But the product in this case, it's the life of Christ. I have to have it done in my lifetime. They're all mural-sized paintings. There's 25 of them. It's very complex.
Oh my
Like,
God,
if I
Jeff.
were to do this entirely from life, I wouldn't live long enough. I literally wouldn't. So I just can't. So I had to make that compromise. That said, I've got this reputation, right? So someone comes just recently to my studio and they see technology everywhere. I've got a huge 3D printer, like the best in the market. I've got like all kinds of tools, forges and ovens and everything. I don't have laser cutters and CNCs, but it's clearly a high-tech studio. I probably, for a painter, have a more high-tech studio than any painter alive today, I would argue. I bet you it is. I am not anti-technology at all. Like, I love technology. My podcast stand is so pimped out. Like, I'm looking at you on 5 different monitors right now. Like, it's so cool. But that said, I don't like to mix my art with technology. To me, the definition of art is, for me personally, is human made. It's something only a human can do. Now, what you said is interesting, and I actually think I can agree with you there, because you know what I'm doing today when I get off this podcast? I'm doing a painting of not today, but the prep for this painting. The next painting is Simon catching the fishes. And I should show you the boat I made. Anyway, I made a 1/6 scale boat, of a first century fishing boat. And I'm going to 3D print hundreds of 1/6 scale fish. And then I'm gonna hand tie a net that's 1/6 scale, and I'm gonna use those little 3D printed fish as sort of a prop. I'll have real fish on the top layers, but just as a prop for the 1/6 scale thing, so I can light it and everything else. So I'm using technology for those fish. What I would have done before I had a 3D printer was just crudely sculpt each fish out of clay and bake them in the oven. But in this case, the technology isn't in any way interfering with the end product. It's not taking, in my opinion, not taking the humanity out of it. It's just something I just need to get done quick so I can get to the more important stuff. So that's my relationship with technology. I'm like, I love it, but I'm really careful about how I implement it into the painting process.
How do you feel about mixing it in?
Man, do I have good news for all of you guys. We are now being sponsored by Winsor Newton. That's right, Winsor Newton, the Winsor Newton. You're probably asking yourselves, how is this good for us? I'll tell you why it's good for you, because you freaking love this podcast. And if it's good for me as the host, it's good for you, because I can keep bringing you more and more episodes with their generous funding. So you're welcome from them and from me. So if you haven't heard of Winsor Newton, you're kind of living under a rock, because they've been around forever. Let me show you something. You see these two old farts right here? They founded Winsor Newton back in 1832. That's like 50 years younger than the United States of America. Now, I realize for all of you Asians and Europeans and Africans and so on, that's nothing to you guys. But to us, that's freaking old. That's a long time, almost 200 years. Now, if a company that sells art supplies has been doing it for almost 200 years, you'd think they know what they're doing, and they do. And I know they do, because my entire studio is full of Winsor Newton art supplies, from ink to papers to charcoal to pencils to mediums, everything. And recently, one of my guests highly recommended their watercolors, and I'm hoping to start watercolors soon. And of course, I'm going to go to them. And you should go to them too, because they're offering a 10% discount code, Undraped Artist Pod. Undraped Artist Pod. You type that in, you'll get 10% off anything you order off their website, windsornewton.com. Send them a message that you love this podcast and that we're worth investing in by using this discount code and ordering with it. Undraped Artist Pod at windsornewton.com. Go buy some art supplies. Discount code only good for 30 days from the time of this ad.
Like, for example, the skull cabinet I showed you earlier, there's parts that were handmade and there were parts that were CNC'd. And does that mean it's not handmade anymore? 90% of it was handmade. Maybe I used the CNC. I just used the CNC to rough out the side. Like, I don't mean the carving. I just mean literally cut the square and put some dados in it, which you could do it on a table saw, but I choose not to, because it's a faster tool. You know, first of all,
See, now
Jeff, hold on. When the table saw came out,
yeah,
everyone had their panties in a twist about it. They're like, oh, you're not using a pit saw anymore. You should be doing this by hand. And the table saw came out, and everyone realized what a game changer the table saw was, except the old timers. They were all bitching and moaning about it, right? And over the next, I don't know, 50 years, whatever, 100 years, I don't know how long, it became part of the new lexicon. And you can use you can use a saw stop now and still say it's handmade, can't you? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't saw that with a hand saw. You used a table saw. Suddenly, the table saw use is cool and it's considered handmade even when using it. So, is the CNC or the 3D printer or the laser cutter really that different? Or is it just our current generation's struggle with adopting a new technology? That's what I often ask myself.
And I ask myself the same thing, and honestly, I don't know the answer. That is an argument that people make for, say, using AI in painting now. And I agree with you. It's a reasonable argument. I understand the argument that, you know, at one point we started using photography and people were like poo-poo to photography. Actually, really, they weren't. People would just use it in secret, is what it turns out to be. Which is still what's happening today now with AI. Artists are using it a lot in secret. Not all, but some. But at some point, it becomes more than a tool and it becomes your brain. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think
I do.
I don't think a CNC machine roughing out something that you clean up with hand tools is that.
Okay.
I don't think that's the case.
Okay.
At all. But I don't know. But I don't know. I mean,
Well, I think if we zoom out,
yeah,
if we abstract out from this discussion, what we're really talking about is ideology versus pragmatism or practicality.
right.
If you are willing to die on that cross for handmade everything, that is an ideological argument. You are willing to go to the
100%.
wall.
It's totally
right?
emotional. Yeah.
It's emotional, it's ideological. Now, 100 years ago or 200 years ago, when furniture makers were making furniture to make a living, they didn't care what they used. They're not worried about ideological arguments and going to the wall. You know, all these hobbyists are like, "Oh, I only use hand tools." Yeah, it sounds good. But these craftsmen were struggling to feed their families.
Right.
They could care less what tools they used. If they got the outcome they needed to sell the piece and get the paycheck, good enough. And these are the pieces that are in the Met. These are the pieces that are lauded in every fine art museum. They didn't care how they got the answer. And I suspect if any of them were alive today, they'd see the new technology and think, if you're not using it, you're the idiot, because I got bills to pay and this is going to help me make more pieces per year. And those pieces are still every bit as beautiful as they used to be when I'd cut it with a handsaw and get a sore shoulder. So I
Okay.
don't know, man.
So I
This
know
is
it's a tough question. So let me ask you this. If you, back when you met this friend of yours, this old guy, remind me his name?
Hal.
Hal. Back when you met Hal, let's say this happened yesterday.
Yep.
Okay, because you know now we have different technology than when you were 20 something. So this happens yesterday. You meet Hal.
Yep.
Hal shows you all these hand tools and simple power tools in his shop.
Yep.
But you make good money as a scientist and you know about CNC machines, but you have these dreams to design beautiful stuff. You're like, you know what, Hal? You're wasting my time. I make good money. I'm just going to go buy a CNC machine. I'll build this whole thing in CAD. I'll have it done faster than you and it'll be gorgeous.
I know where this is going.
Yeah, so then you
Go
don't
ahead.
even have to learn the craft.
Yep.
Is the craft even relevant in this
Okay.
generation if we
If
don't
you do
need to
that-
learn it?
Yeah. This is a great example. This is so good. if you skip over the fundamentals
Mm-hmm.
and you buy your way using technology, you will suffer, I believe,
Why?
because the fundamentals underlie everything. It underlies your choice of wood for the CNC. It underlies the grain direction you cut. It underlies expansion contraction principles when you put it together. If you don't know anything about woodworking, you just cut it on a machine and put it together, it's going to break itself apart because you don't understand wood expands and contracts seasonally with humidity changes. and it's going to break itself to smithereens. And your customers are going to be calling you, why is this broken? Why is this warped? And you have no idea because you couldn't be bothered with learning the fundamentals.
That's a
So
great answer.
I'm a staunch supporter of you learn the fundamental building blocks of your craft, and now you have permission to break the rules and use technology to your advantage.
That is the best answer I've heard yet. That's a great, and honestly, that works with painting too, because if you just ask AI to come up with a painting for you and you never learned how to paint, it's not gonna do the whole job. You've still got to know how to paint. I'm not sure you convinced me yet, but that's a good argument. But I will say that I do think with all of these things, to me, photography is like the equivalent of you roughing out your thing and then cleaning it up. And I don't think it's like a craft sin. But there's something so romantic about just a woodworker or a painter alone with his tools, just using his own hands. Do you know what I mean? There's just something so romantic about that. And anyway, it's an interesting conversation.
Do you think the next generation is going to feel like you, or are they going to be more welcoming of the technology?
I have a theory. It could go one of two ways. We either, I hope my audience isn't bored of this conversation because it keeps coming up. But we are either going to have 95% of the world in, let's say 30 years, 40, 50 years, 95% of the world are going to be complete idiots because of technology. Because, I mean, right now at universities, my kids are university age, and they have all these friends that are just getting through classes by using ChatGPT. They're not even doing anything, you know?
Yeah, but that's like building a house on a faulty foundation. It's going to
That's
crumble.
my point. That's my point.
Oh, I agree.
They're going to, so imagine in 50 years when the technology gets better, AI gets better and better, and kids who are like my painters who don't give a crap about how good they are, they just want to get home and eat and watch TV. That's a huge chunk of the population. And you give them this kind of technology and they don't have to do anything with their lives. So we get 90% of the world that are complete morons. And then 5 or 10% of the world that's like geniuses because they're the ones that had to hold up the technology. That's one possible scenario. I hope it's not that. The other is that a lot of people use the technology like I do YouTube, following people like you, and actually help the technology to make them better humans, more powerful humans, smarter humans. And also the public at the same time gets an increased craving for handmade things because they're so surrounded with technology that people just want humanity. And so while we use technology to better ourselves, at the same time, we're taking that betterment and applying it to handmade things that the public is beginning to demand. That would be the ideal in my mind.
I feel like both of those solutions are what's going to happen simultaneously. You're going to have a bit of each.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right. And your second case where people start to crave handmade humanness is already happening. That's why I have a business. I mean, every single person who buys something from me is doing so because they crave the quality handmade heirloom experience of someone who cares.
Yeah.
Cares as much as they do, cares deeply for the craft and their object. And so it's already happening. Everyone's tired of factory made goods, but we still buy them. So
because sometimes you just need a table and you're not looking for a piece of art.
Well, I guess, Jeff, it depends what you care about. Some people don't just see it as a table. Some people look at a table and they think that table is a gathering place that my family is going to have incredible moments around.
Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I thought when I bought my kitchen table.
Like this is no longer a table.
Funny.
This is a touchstone of humanity. This piece embodies my family's lineage and our time together on this earth. It is not a table. It is so much more than now. And then the next person says, I need a surface to eat on, whatever. It just depends how you see the world. Are you delving deep into the emotional associations with things, or are you purely looking at it from a pragmatic, functional point of view? I need a surface,
Well,
and
it's
this will
also
do.
economics. I
Yeah,
mean,
and do I have? Yeah, of course, of
huge
course.
portion of society can't even don't have the luxury to be thinking about that. They
And
just
it's
need they
age.
have minimum funds and they
Yes,
they just need to
totally.
fill their house with furniture.
And it's age based. I feel like we get more philosophical and more empathetic and more appreciative and more gratitude as we get older and we start realizing, wow, I might be looking at less years forward than I've already lived. What
Hmm.
really matters here? All right. And you
Yeah.
start thinking about the objects and what they actually mean and or don't mean, and do you want to put money? No, your money point is very well taken, and I think it interplays with age and what resource you have.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. As I get older, I've always had this in me where I want beautiful things made by people, but I couldn't afford it young. But as we
Yep.
start to trade out our furniture now, that's changing. Where it's like, okay, now I'm not going to buy my kitchen table that was a knockoff of a Stickley. It's fallen apart. That's all I could afford. But now, if I ever buy another table, which I will eventually because it's fallen apart, it'll be something that's heirloom, you know? So yeah, I mean, yeah, there are stages in life and there's economic factors for sure. Well, okay, let's look at your furniture again. Let's see. Or not furniture, mostly boxes, I guess. Do you do furniture ever?
Oh, I used to. The 10 years I was doing it, I did furniture. There's an interesting story. If you scroll up, scroll the
Okay.
opposite way, and there is a rounded box. Oh, there, down a little bit. You passed it on the right, down, down, there, on the right. That
Yeah.
you see that?
That is beautiful, man.
Okay, that's what I call a stadia box. There's a really interesting question in here, and so the question is, do humans prefer certain shapes?
I think they prefer certain proportions. I'm sure you've heard of the golden mean.
Of course, yeah,
Yeah.
proportions, but do they prefer certain shapes?
I don't know. Do they? What are your thoughts?
I asked that question. I was like, huh, I wonder. Just it came to me one day. I'm like, I wonder what shapes humans innately prefer. Is there any research on this? Like, I'm a researcher, I can look up the research. And so I went into the biological, like the neurological research literature, and this question has been asked many times. And would you like to? We could, in the crudest sense, we can cast this question as: do they prefer squares, rectilinear, or do they prefer curves, curvilinear? That's like the crudest way to ask this question.
Can I give you
Do
my
you have?
thoughts?
Yeah, please.
I would suspect it would be curvilinear because we are a product of our environment and we are born on an organic planet.
I love it. Well, you'd be right.
Really?
The majority, overwhelmingly in every study, prefer curvilinear over rectilinear. And the way they would test that is they would take a room with two chairs, a window, and a desk and a light, and they would cast it all as rectilinear. The chairs are square, the desk is square, the windows are square, the flower pot's square, and they would do the same thing all curvilinear.
Mm-hmm.
Every part of that chair is curved in every direction, and the desk, it looks like kind of space agey, right? And they would ask people, hey, which do you prefer? And they would randomize the order because there's order bias if you asked first. They carefully controlled this. And there's so many studies. There's another one if you scroll down.
You got a
There,
whole
yeah, that
series of
one.
these guys.
Actually, if you go to my website
Yeah.
at this point, and click on this Stadia,
I
the
lost it.
Stadia line,
Yeah, I
copperpigwoodworking.com.
got it.
Um,
Uh-oh. Give me one sec. My computer just started whacking out. Hold on.
I'll continue with the story. So
Yeah, go ahead.
the research overwhelmingly says that humans prefer curves, and then I was like, well, why do we make everything square?
Because it's
Like,
easier.
because it's easier. The
Yeah.
machines are set up to do square. The programs we use to draw things, yeah. The programs we use to draw things are predisposed to square. So I decided to run a little experiment on my profile. I said, I'm going to make a curved box. And this is the shape I decided to try. This is not an oval. It's referred to as a stadium. Geometrically, it's two half circles connected by straight lines. So that is geometrically a stadium. So I called this the stadia line, right? And I put the very first one on Instagram a long time ago, 7 years ago. I put the very first one, and I thought, what's the reaction going to be? Like, the research says people should love it. But I'm curious, like, anecdotally, like, did people get excited, or were they like, meh, it's a nice box? Jeff, the reaction was swift and extreme. People loved it.
Really?
And I thought, wow, there is something to this. Wow, like, that's cool. And so that started me down a path of exploring this stadium shape in every possible way.
And they're
Is it
all
vertical?
sold. I just want the audience to recognize there is not one available. People are eating this stuff up.
It's like tea boxes, it's salt and pepper shakers, it's a whiskey cabinet. If you turn it vertical, it's jewelry boxes. And it's like, this is again about, I think it comes back to our discussion about design. How does design work? It stems from curiosity. It stems from iterative, right? Iterative steps. So like this silly little question I had about, hey, what shapes do humans prefer? Like, what a dumb sounding question. I almost was embarrassed to ask it, but you know what? Sometimes some of the best questions are the ones we're scared to
I think
ask.
it's a great question.
This little question led to an entire design philosophy that has, given me so much food for thought over the last 7 years with this whole Stadia line. And I love this as an example of how design works in our brains.
Have you ever heard the term simultaneous contrast?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it's just something that painters talk about a lot. And it has to do with something looking the way it does because of what it's surrounded by. So for example, if you take a quote unquote neutral gray and you put red next to that neutral gray, it's going to look more green. If you put green next to that neutral gray, it's going to look more red.
Wow. Okay.
If you put black next to it, it'll look lighter. If you put white next to it, it'll look darker.
Okay.
And there's all kinds of stuff on the internet where you can see these sort of things, these they'll call it an optical illusion of sorts. But it's a really interesting principle. It's really important to painters because you got to be careful where you're putting colors and values and what's around them and so on. And what I wonder is if you could sort of apply that to the ideal shape. Does the ideal shape of a curve, or what did you call this shape, this pill shape?
It's a stadium.
A stadium. This ideal shape of a stadium, is it more successful because it's only a stadium on one axis?
Oh, wow.
And yet it's got a square edge, top and bottom? Or would it be more appealing if it were literally like a pill?
Well,
I think it's not. I think it has to have a curved edge so you have that, so that you appreciate, or I'm sorry, the square edge to appreciate the curve. Yeah.
Jeff, are we like dreaming up our next collaboration here? Like, that is such a phenomenal question, right? Because you bring up a good point about rectilinear and straight. People's eyes like straight lines too. Right. We don't everything curvy, and it can look a little disgusting. Let me tell you a story. So I decided to try a board that was all curves. It was just a piece of burl, right? It was all disorganized and organic. It curved every which way, blah, 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 right? And I made a serving board out of it, and it looked disgusting.
Do you have a picture of it?
I don't.
Yeah, why would you? You'd never want to show it, right?
I called it bear turd. It was visually triggered a feeling of disgust. It was gross.
Yeah.
It didn't look, but it's curved. Hey, research says curves are good, right? Well, you can have too much of a good thing. You need some straight lines to anchor us into a sense. Like, humans do like straight lines. So I think your point is very, very good about the interplay of some straight lines to let your eye go down that line and give a sense of organization with curves in a balanced way. So good, Jeff.
That's
you absolutely
so interesting.
nailed it.
I love the way you approach this stuff where you're asking your audience
questions like a scientist would, and then applying them to your art. It's so great. It's so great. All right, let's look at another one of your categories here.
Sure.
I love your boxes. I want to look at more boxes. So
Sure.
this is one I recently saw, I
Yep.
think on your Instagram,
Yeah.
and it's for watches, right?
Yeah. It holds.
Oh yeah,
what
right.
was it?
Watch box. Yeah.
Yep. 12 watches. This is for a puzzle collector. This is for someone who is so passionate about wooden puzzles. He single-handedly convinced me to make the only two pieces of puzzle furniture I've ever made. And
Wait,
let
how
me
is
tell
this a
you what.
puzzle?
Okay. Well, that bottom drawer, you notice that only half of it's showing?
Yeah.
Well, there's another half that you can't get to. It's locked. You pull that drawer out and it
Oh, I
stops where
love
you
that
see it.
kind of stuff.
And the question is, how do you get to the back side of that drawer? How do you get to it? And this was a graduation present for his son, who just graduated from high school and is going to college and loves watches. And he's like, please, please, please make him a watch box, but we're going to put just one mechanism. Like he had to convince me to to take the project, because I don't enjoy making puzzle mechanisms like with all the gadgetry and stuff. Like I enjoy the art side and design a bit more, but like this comes into like mechanical engineering and like how do you work the mechanism, and I don't love it, but he convinced me to do it because he's a really nice guy. And he's like, okay, this is the idea. The drawer pulls out halfway, but to get to get the other half, that my son has to figure out how. And it turns out that if you take that stamp, you see there's a stamp in the drawer. There's like it's a wax seal, so you could stamp his initials into wax. That's what it is. If you touch that to his name, which is in the top compartment, it releases a magnet and the drawer doesn't come out further. You can push it back through the other way and it comes out the back of the box.
How does it
And
realign? How does the magnet?
It pulls out a pin and the pin drops back in after you move it.
Oh.
And in that secret compartment was the new watch, which was his graduation gift, but he had to work to get it. It was such a great
That's
story.
really cool.
And the student, his name's Ethan. He reached out to me after he solved it. He's like, I couldn't solve it. And I was supposed to go to a party. I really wanted to wear the new watch and I couldn't solve it. And so my dad gave me a little hint. He's like, I really appreciate this. I'll have this beautiful box the rest of my life. I so appreciate the time that you and my dad put into this, making this for me. It'll be treasured forever. Like these kinds of projects, Jeff, like fill me up. Like, separate from the money component, and like knowing that I've touched someone's life is really what I go for on each project. That's why I say no to like 70% of requests, because it's going to live in a closet or it's just not something that really moves people. But when I get a good request where I know it's a special object, I'm just so happy to do it.
This thing in 100, 200 years, hopefully someone will be looking back and wondering who made it and why they made it. That's the great thing about objects like this.
Like you were saying, the
Yeah.
handmade, it comes with a story about humanity,
It does.
which actually, Jeff, how do you as painters tell the story of a painting?
What do you mean?
Well, the story is so important to the object. I think all of us would agree.
The
Like,
story behind the painting, or you referring to the
Yes.
illustration the painting is telling?
Either. But I think we'd agree that objects, why they're special, I mean, they can be special in and of themselves because it's a special material or it's handmade or whatever. But behind everything, and this comes back to our talk about dining room tables or like a watch box, is the story. Like, how did you come up with it? What does it mean to you? What's the symbolism? How when you paint a picture, like how do you transmit that story? Like I go to museums and I see these amazing paintings on the wall, and I know I'd appreciate them 100 times more if I knew what the artist went through or what the artist was thinking or the struggles or the thought process. But like it's just this little placard that's like, oh, Dutch master painting.
Now now you've made me too tempted now. I want to show you something real quick. Hold on one sec.
Like, how do you tell the story of these paintings in an adequate way that moves humans?
Yeah, well, I'll show you part of what I think is the story behind my paintings. And I hope that
someday, I'm just trying to see if I could pull up myself here. I don't know if I have a, why don't I have a host button? What's wrong with me? All right, I'm going to pull up my school page because it's the only way I can do the host. So here it is. So here, I can't see you right now, but I'll be right back. I want to show you something.
Well, while Jeff's gone, maybe we should have a little personal, private discussion now. Just kidding. I promise we weren't talking about you.
So check this out. This
What?
is the boat that I built. That's the 1/6 scale
That's incredible.
model for the painting.
You
I
what?
wish you could see it better. Wait, let's see.
That's insane. It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was so much work, dude. Let me just put it down and I'll put.
It's phenomenal. How did you make that?
You know, bending. I made a steamer, you know, which isn't that complicated, and then
Oh my
just
God, Jeff, are you just good at everything you do? Good grief.
not as good as
dude.
you, dude.
Holy crap.
But to
That's
me,
phenomenal.
to me, the process is part of the story.
No, let's say you finished the picture. I guess it's of that boat, right?
Yeah.
How do you make sure that that story accompanies the painting through its life?
Well, in this particular case, my hope is that all of these things, because every painting has so many of these maquettes and stuff, that the museum these paintings will show in will also display that. So this boat to me is a piece of art.
It is.
And hopefully it will be displayed as well. But maybe on a little more of a I don't know, a little more hard to define. How do I put it? I would say the difference between, or the unique thing about painting that is maybe different than woodworking. I don't know. I'd have to really think about this. But the unique thing about painting is every artist, every painter has a way of applying paint that's sort of like the difference between signatures of individuals. You know what I mean? And it's some of it comes from just who they've seen and everything, but ultimately it sort of funnels down into what that person is just what they're programmed to do ultimately after years of painting. They just sort of settle on a way. And so when you look at a body of work by an artist, there's a look to it. And I feel like, to me, every paint stroke tells the story, because it's like when I look at a painting and I look at the strokes and I look at how they built up the paint and the decisions they made, as a painter, I look at it and it's like almost like reading a novel about the experience of making the painting, because I just love to look deep into every stage of the painting at every stroke. And it's unique for every painter. It's totally unique. So to me, that's part of the story. The other side of it is obvious, which is if you're an illustrator, which I kind of am. I mean, I'm a painter, but I illustrate stories. Then that's obvious, right? I'm telling a story of the Bible in this case, or I'm telling a story of a family. If I do a family portrait or an official portrait, I'm telling the story of, right now I'm doing a portrait of the CEO of the Huntsman Cancer Institute, and I'm going to tell something about her through certain elements that she's connected to, the building, the landscape, the outfit, you know, and so on. But I think what you're getting at more is the making of the piece, like what's behind it, not so much what I'm saying with it. Am I wrong about that?
It's both. I guess the first example you give is like a technical story, like the technical, how is it applied? You can almost read the signature, like the fingerprint of the artist, how they, that almost sounds almost like a technical backstory to me.
Yeah.
And then you're saying, well, it's pretty obvious. It's a portrait, and that's pretty obvious what the story is. I guess I was thinking about these images that I see in museums of like water lilies or I don't know, things that aren't so obvious to me. And I'm always so damn curious. Like, what was the artist thinking here? I know there's a great story. I just don't know what it
I don't
is,
know.
and I wish I
Sometimes there's
knew.
not. Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes an artist just drives up into the mountains like I hope to do after we're done here today and just paints a painting and is just trying to
Okay.
capture the beauty of the scene. And the only story is in how that artist interprets that scene. Unless you're saying that the trip up there and the trip back and technically be the story, but
And
usually,
like,
oftentimes it's
why
not that
that
interesting.
spot? Like, why that spot? What did you
Sometimes it's as
see?
simple as just that something moved them, a tree, an
Okay.
arrangement of rocks, a
Okay.
certain composition that nature provided. I mean, there are often, I think in painting, there are often very significant backstories, but sometimes there's not. Sometimes the story is
Interesting.
only in the process. It's only in how the artist sort of responds to the problems presented.
I
And to
guess.
me,
Yeah,
that's
that's
almost as interesting. But that's because I am a painter.
yeah.
So, as a painter, I look at paintings differently than the average person, I would say. And I just like eat up every decision. I'm just like, oh, why did he put that stroke there? And why that color? Why that direction? Sometimes
Well,
it's that simple.
there's an analogy in woodworking which would be like, is it a Windsor chair? Okay, what's the story behind the Windsor chair? I needed a place to sit my ass. That's the story, right?
Yeah,
Like, it's
exactly.
craft. Like, actually, we have a hard time in woodworking talking about art versus craft, because the craft is what started woodworking, right? The craft is the centuries old. I need a thing to sit my ass. I need a thing to hold my clothes. I need a table to put my food on, right? That's why woodworking developed. But more recently, I'd say in the last few hundred years, it's pivoted into art, where more complex stories are now being told through wooden objects that are not purely functional. They're
Dude,
both
painting's the
functional
same.
and
Think about it. I need you to worship this God. I need you to respect this king or this pope. I need you to understand this
function.
story as I've
Wow, I never
commissioned it
thought
to
of
be
that.
told.
Oh, that's
Right?
so cool.
People were commissioning paintings not simply because they were beautiful, but because they were trying to either teach something they wanted taught or they were trying to control a narrative, right?
That is fascinating. Such a great
It was really like
response.
only the
Oh,
20th century, maybe not the 20th, maybe a little further back than that, but it's only been the
yeah.
last maybe 300 years where artists are doing art for art's sake, right?
Oh,
It's kind of a new thing. At least that's the way
what a
I
good
understand it.
answer. What a good answer. Oh, you just like, I never really thought of it like that. And I'm
Yeah.
never going to see it the same way again. See, this is why we should be crossing boundaries.
Yeah, it's true. There's so
We're
much.
more alike than we realize.
Oh, very well, because and I knew that coming into it because I do experiment with what you do. I mean, I'm nowhere
Yeah.
near your caliber, but so I know it's the same brain. Like when I'm making a leather bag or a piece of furniture or a painting, it's the same brain. Like it's the same, it feels the same. The emotions are
So,
different, but the feeling is the same. It's all the same.
so in the spirit of we're more alike than we are apart, I would ask the question to you, why don't we collaborate more across fields?
Well, I don't know, but I would tell you there's probably a lot of reasons. I think some people aren't good collaborators. Some people aren't team players. That's an obvious one.
Mhm.
Time was my issue, right? But also there's just people get tunnel vision. I mean, I know a lot of painters that all they think about is paint. And I'm envious of those painters in one way because they become so educated in painting. They know every painter. They know all about art history. I mean, I've interviewed artists that know so much about painting and painting history. It's embarrassing to me. Like I am so ignorant. But that's because I use my time not reading about painting. If I have spare time, I go to the workbench and build something.
Yeah, you do.
And so and that's a rare thing in our field. I don't know about your field if people get tunnel
Rare.
vision in just woodworking or not,
Mm-hmm.
but
Totally.
a lot of crafts it's that way. It's like that's it. I'm a woodworker. That's all I care about. That's all I read about. That's all I watch. It's pretty rare for people to look outside of their medium. I think that's probably the main reason people don't collaborate. I think you're rare in that you go to museums and actually look at paintings, and that you were inspired by a contemporary painter. Where it amazes me sometimes when I'm standing in a museum and I people watch and I notice what people walk right by and it doesn't even catch their attention, you know? And it's mind blowing to me. And a painter might walk right by the furniture area and a furniture maker might walk right by the paintings. So why would they collaborate? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, underlying it is a curiosity. Curiosity to me is something we don't talk about enough with art, but it drives everything.
Yeah.
Curiosity drives my next piece. Curiosity drives learning the next technique, adopting the next innovation, trying the next thing, like the next harebrained idea. Curiosity underlies all of it. And, if you lean into that, you become well, curious about how do painters see the world and why can't we mix woodworking and painting? Like I do pyrography, which is basically drawing on wood with a
Wait, you
hot
started
pen.
doing that? Because
Yeah.
didn't that start with a collaboration with a pyographer?
Yeah, Jen. Yeah, she
Yeah,
knows you.
she's
Jen
good.
DiOrenzo. Yeah. Oh, she's
Say her last name
no,
again so the audience hears. What's her name again?
Jennifer DiOrenzo.
Okay.
If you want to see
Oh,
pyrography,
she's
oh
so good.
boy.
I follow her, but I follow a
I
million
sent
people.
you I sent you a post of a koi tea box. Did you see that?
Yeah.
In
That
our
was way
chat?
back when, and that's
No. Just I just sent it today to your here. Yeah, I
yeah,
can
but I
send it
can't
again.
access it. Hold on. Let me
Okay,
see.
go to the website. It's on there. People should see her pyrography. Oh boy,
To the website. Let's see.
it's almost like depressing. It's so good.
She is really good. I mean, she's like a classical
Yes.
draftsman. Oh, this it right here? Is this? Oh, you can't see. I should probably pull up the monitor.
Yup. Yup. That's the one.
Dude,
Look,
it's so
I mean,
pretty.
if you can zoom in on that box top, there's pictures below.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Pick a good one
What
where you
a
can see the fish.
perfect. Well, let me zoom back. How do you zoom back out here? Oh, there we go. What a perfect choice of wood. It feels like they're
Right there. That's the one. Like, look at that. It's like fish swimming in water. Now, this is only possible, Jeff, with Jen's going to art school, being a world class, like just amazing illustrator, and her choosing wood burning as her medium, and me making boxes, knowing about quilted maple. Like a lot of woodworkers don't even know that these mutant, woods exist, and having the means to buy it and find it, it's really hard to get. And then the two of us meeting, becoming fast friends and thinking we could really shake things up if we combined our skills. And that's what we
so
did.
pretty.
And it broke new ground. I swear I've never seen anything like this. I swear in these moments, by combining our skills, we're breaking new ground as artists. So all that people who say it's all been done before, I'm so discouraged. You know what? Maybe it's time to sort of look outside yourself in your little siloed world and start collaborating with others. And if there's any painters out there who want to put their painting on wood, I happen to know a woodworker who's all about,
Yeah, but I got
stretching.
first dibs, man. Don't forget.
Yes, Jeff has first dibs, and I have a project idea for us that
Oh,
I'm going to
good.
give you. But yeah, I think this shows what's possible because, as you said earlier, Jeff, we don't have enough time to master everything, and this shows what's possible if we work together. And this thing sold before it was half done.
Oh,
Someone
I'm not
reached out;
surprised.
it was 50% complete. We told them what we were thinking, and they bought it on the spot, half done. They
How
they
big
had,
is it?
and it's about like like this big, like a. There you
Dang,
go. You
that's
can
worth
see the
every
tea
penny. I
bags.
don't know. I don't know how people feel about this, but that price is worth every freaking penny.
It's art. It's
It
functional art.
is.
It holds tea bags. It holds loose leaf tea. Oh, by the way, you see the loose leaf tea there? Go back that to that image. You see the loose leaf tea over on the left?
This over here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you find another picture that shows
Yeah.
that? Yeah. Guess where those came from?
I have no idea.
Look familiar?
No.
Stadia shapes. That's the Stadia box.
Wait, what? I don't understand what you're saying. Oh, the
see the-
boxes. I'm looking at the tea itself.
No, the boxes.
Oh,
Like if
yes,
you
of
can find a zoom
course.
out, like zoom if you can find a zoom out version of that whole tea box, like towards the beginning or the end, if you can like, yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Like
that's
and
great.
you see how these influences that pop up along the way, questions about what shapes do humans prefer, they then start to appear in your work and take on function. Like those were for loose leaf and the box was for tea bags. And it's like you see all the merging of so many discrepant ideas into an ensemble.
Wow. Dang. How do you, okay, I'm going to ask you a technical question now. How
Yeah.
do you get those perfect shapes?
Well, I used to cut it at the bandsaw and just sand it in the old days, and now I use a CNC.
Really?
Yep.
Man, yeah, it's so beautiful. Dude, I can't get over, I don't know how you found this quilted maple. I have never been able to find anything like that.
Yeah, it's tough
I've
to
gone
find.
through so many maple piles.
No, you have to buy it from people who have it
Yeah,
explicitly.
I
You-
found some
you
pretty
can't just
good
find it.
tiger maple,
Yeah.
but dang, that's gorgeous, man.
Thanks, but
So
you
what do
know,
you do about
again,
the copper? How do you keep it copper? Do you seal it?
I seal it, or I
Okay.
don't. Sometimes I don't seal it, and I just accept that patina is part of the story of the piece.
So how, I guess a stupid question. I was going to ask, how do you decide that? But that's probably impossible to
Well,
answer.
sometimes you know that it'll do better if it stays shiny, and other times you know that this person is all about the story and about patina. Like patina to me, I don't know how the art world feels, but like patina on a piece, like a chair getting all beat up or something, showing its life on its surface over time, to me is very romantic.
Yeah. No, that's not the case for paintings. We want our paintings to be the way they were new forever.
Mm.
But I understand that with woodworking for sure. And then this kind of stuff is insanely tedious, I imagine.
Is it just me or the rest of you guys also get weirdly excited when you order new paint? Because I don't know about you, but when I get paint in the mail, it feels like Santa just dropped my Christmas presents off at my doorstep. With Vasari paint, my paint of choice and the podcast sponsor, it's even more exciting. And let me show you why. Because when Vasari shows up, it comes in this incredible box where each tube lays in this little compartment perfectly formed around the tube in this nice soft foam. And it's surrounded by velvet, red velvet. Now you got to ask yourself, if a paint comes so carefully protected and surrounded by red velvet, you got to wonder if this paint is worthy of royalty. It is. Vasari is. So if you haven't tried Vasari, you're seriously missing out. And the thing about Vasari, it's not only the best paint out there, it's also made by an incredible company that's been around for 30 years and knows its customer by name. Do yourself a favor, go to vasaricolors.com and order yourself some for your next painting.
Well, so I had a real interest in Japanese patterns. Like again, curiosity, I've loved them. And so I'm like, why don't I use the CNC to carve a Japanese pattern, and then I can take actual brass powder, mix it with epoxy, and flow it into those
That's
grooves.
brass?
That's copper powder.
Get out of town. Oh, it doesn't do it
Actual-
justice on here.
Copper powder in epoxy.
Really? I wish there was a better
So-
picture.
So that marries to the whole Japanese idea of the koi. So you have a Japanese pattern, the hemp leaf asanawa inside, and you have the koi on the outside. It's like the whole Japanese motif kind of flows through it.
Yeah. You know, back to that whole thing of CNC, this would be the kind of thing that would be unbelievably tedious and time consuming.
You couldn't do it.
No.
It's prohibitive. It is literally prohibitive. No one is going to hand carve that. So
Yeah.
here's a case now where a technology enabled a design element that you couldn't have by hand.
That's literally impossible. Yeah, I'm
So
trying to imagine how
now-
you could do that by hand.
So now how do the haters feel about this? It's a very interesting example
I think
because
that's a
it
fair
enabled the
example.
design.
Yeah. I think you sort of alluded to this earlier, where technology can put you ahead in a way. But oftentimes people think that when one says technology can advance the craft, sometimes what I hear is technology can help me get better, therefore advancing the craft.
Yeah.
That's not what this is. This is making it possible to do an formerly impossible thing.
Correct.
Yeah. And I think that's where I think it's a problem when you, as you talked about earlier, you avoid learning the craft because you have the equipment, you know, and that's a very different thing.
Yeah. Don't sacrifice the foundational skills
Right.
with technology. And I think that's where you fall. I think you and I are actually quite aligned in this, is like, learn to do it right, learn the fundamentals, then you can have fun with your technology and break the rules.
Right, right. Yeah, I am not going to carve 400 little tiny fish when I just have a 3D printer. It's just not happening. But all right, let's see. Is there any others that you really want to show off? Because I mean, I could look at this stuff all day, but I want you to tell me. I got to ask you one more technical thing though. Actually, I just remembered.
Yeah, sure.
So I've thought about doing this, but I have so many hobbies, so I kind of put it on the back burner.
Yeah.
No pun intended. When you're burning on something as complex as quilted maple, how do you get clean lines? Doesn't the wood
it's
burn
fine.
unevenly?
Nope.
It doesn't?
Nope.
Really? I had no idea. I would have assumed that it would just like sink in, not burn, sink in, not burn.
Well, that's what oak does. Any woods that have deep pores in them, like walnut and oak, they tend to do that because it falls in the pore. Like the grain is so empty and big, literally the tip falls into the hole.
That's
like
what I
it's stuck
thought would
there.
happen here, but it doesn't.
No, maple is a closed grain wood. It's like a solid surface. It doesn't have those big pores.
Okay. So
Oak is a nightmare to burn on.
So you wouldn't even choose oak then, I would assume.
Well, funny enough, if you go to if you look on the Instagram, there's an oak box from not long ago, and you're like, why did you burn on an oak box? It was actually Jen who did it, and I challenged her. I'm like, Jen, you and I both know burning on oak. It's on my Instagram. Burning on oak is a nightmare. If you go to just down a little further, if you go from the top, you'll see just keep going. Go
I
back
gotta
to
get off of this. Wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah, click on my icon on the right. Click on that should take you back.
Oh,
okay. If you scroll down just a little bit here, you should see an oak box there. There. So this was a
I love
collaboration.
those inlays. Is that brass?
It's brass. It's brass leaf. And Jen did it all. I made the box, and Jen did the trees, and Jen did the gold leaf swans. Now speaking about the story, this is an oak box, right? And I just told you what a nightmare it is to burn on oak. And I said to Jen, let's stop being wusses. Let's go. I have an oak box kicking around my shop. I challenge you. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. You can do this. You are the best I've ever seen at wood burning. I'm like, you got this. I'm going to send you this oak box, and you're going to figure out how to burn on it.
Do you send it to her finished, or you send her the panel?
Unfinished.
No. When I say finished, I mean complete, not the finish.
No, it was a finished, but yes, it was a completed box that I sent her.
Without varnish on it.
Without varnish on it. And it was just a challenge. And I knew Jen would succeed because she doesn't fail. She's so driven and she's so good. She tried a million different ways to Sunday to figure out what kind of mark making, what kind of knife, what kind of shape, what kind of angle could I burn oak and not have the damn thing fall in those ruts.
Well, at least it's pretty tight grain oak. And could be worse.
Well, it's got huge grain holes. It's got huge pores in it.
Yeah.
And the knife, the tip falls in there, and it's a big. And she figured out I can do trees really well on oak, and she did this. She made it up out of her.
I was wondering that. So she tried something that sort of favored the wood.
So this was a challenge. between
Yeah.
us to like figure out how can we burn on this nuisance of a wood.
So if you sent it a completed box, how did she get those trees on the inside corner like that?
Oh, those were removable.
Oh,
I
they
made them
are. Okay.
removable. Yeah.
What
But yeah,
was
she
the
did a great
secondary
job.
wood? Was that ash or something?
No, that's all. It's all oak.
Oh,
It's
it
all
looked
white oak.
lighter.
All of it.
Oh, you probably didn't put a finish on the inside.
I think it's just the angle of the light.
Oh, is that all? Okay.
Yeah. And then I stained the bottom to look like the ground, to look like dirt. It's
Oh,
oak,
is
but
that
it's
why you did
stained.
that? Okay.
Yeah.
It looked nice. Oh, here's a
Oh,
detail.
yeah, you can see it there.
That's great.
It's cool, right?
It's so cool.
And it's so gratifying to know that Jen, like I challenged her and she overcame it as I knew she would, and this beautiful object came out of it, and one of our close friends bought it, and he loves it. He loves it.
Wow. And what are these? I forget what you call these corners.
Those are splines, and I made them out of
Splines.
brass. I made them out
Oh,
of
that's
brass
brass too.
to-
It's just reflecting light
Yeah.
different. Okay.
Yeah, you can see it on the left. It's all
Yeah.
bright.
I
on
thought
the
maybe
right
it was
is dark.
ebony and brass or something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want to just look at a couple more things before we wrap up here.
Sure.
I'm having too much fun, man. Okay. One question about your hardware. Did you pick this up somewhere or make it?
Yeah, England. They cast it like they do in the old days from original examples. And they
Wow.
cast it in England and sent it to me.
I found this antique place, and my brother showed it to me actually. It's an antique place in New York where I grew up that collects old hardware from houses that have been taken down and stuff.
Like restoration. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like it. That's stuff you don't get in Utah because we just don't have the 300 years of history here, but it's
Can you go back one? The post just under that. There, that on the left.
what the
No, sorry,
engraving?
sorry.
Is that your first
Yeah.
attempt?
Yeah, it's not my first attempt, but it's one of my more recent ones.
How hard is
And
it to get pretty
it's-
good at it?
It's tough. It's got a steep learning curve. It's very difficult. It's not easy. I'll say that.
What about the sharpening? That's the thing I hate sharpening tools.
Well, I'm pretty good at sharpening because I have to sharpen all my woodworking tools, and
Yeah.
those kinds of skills are transferable. But anyway, this is the point I take away from this is like, let's not just be students of one type of craft.
Mm-hmm.
Like drawing informs engraving, like studying acanthus leaves, right? That study of the acanthus form, that curiosity informs drawing, which informs engraving, and that engraving can work its way into your woodworking.
Mm-hmm.
And the sharpening skills you have from woodworking inform how to sharpen the engraving tools. Again, these silos of art are so intermingled and so tied together. Let's do that more, And
Yeah.
I almost
agree.
can't stay away from it. It's just been so fun exploring different art forms.
Okay, did you get a microscope or are you doing this all with just glasses?
I have a
or-
microscope. Yeah, I
You
have a
did get
microscope.
one?
Yep.
Which one did you get? I'm debating on whether I should go cheaper or go all the way.
I said, let me start with the cheaper one. Let me see if I don't engrave a ton.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how it goes. And so far, it hasn't been a problem.
Can I ask what you got?
I don't remember.
Okay,
I'll have
maybe
to
you could tell me later if you don't mind.
It was only at $300 or $200.
Yeah, because the one they're selling at GRS is like $2,500.
No. Like you could buy that if you demonstrate to yourself that you're going to be a lifelong engraver.
Yeah, no, I'm
then
not gonna
sure,
be.
go
Yeah.
for it. But if you're not going to be, why spend the money on that?
Okay, after you said what you said about dipping into other mediums, you really need. Have you heard of Sean Cheatham?
No.
Sean Cheatham's another one of those Renaissance people. He makes incredible knives. Let me just look him up real quick. You're going to want to look this guy
Yeah.
up.
I am.
He is something else.
Sean.
And I've had him, I'm trying to remember how to spell his name. There's so many ways to spell Sean.
Sean.
Is that it?
Cheat. Cheetham. Oh my God. These are his paintings and
Dude, the guy's a
sculpting.
rock star.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh my God.
He's so good. He's a
That's-
great dude too. He's a really cool guy.
How do you see? This is where I'm just like, I put my phone away and I'm like, how is that even possible? Like I
Yeah.
feel like the things I make are like preschool compared to that kind of fine art. It just
We all look at other people the same way. It's so hard to value our own work, you know? But like, here's an example of a knife he made.
Jeez.
And
Look at
he
that.
is a great engraver.
Holy shit.
I know. The dude is a stud. And a while back he got hired by some movie star to make a
Show me that engraving. Oh God.
I think that's just in progress actually.
He was hired by a movie star?
Yeah, to make a chess set. I'm trying to find the chess set.
Dude, there's a genetic component here, right?
No,
this is
yes,
this is the it factor. Not that he doesn't practice. I'm sure he practices extensively. Oh, look at those big
Well,
beefy
I've been teaching for a
acanthus.
very long time, like 25 years, and there are certain students that you tell them something once and they're good at it, and there are others that have to practice for years.
Yes.
And there's no my pet peeve, I'll be honest with you, is when someone says there's no such thing as talent. That is the dumbest, and I hope I don't offend anybody. Actually, I don't really care. But that is the dumbest statement I've ever heard in my entire life. There's no such thing as talent. That is absolutely not true.
What about the word aptitude? Maybe it's like
I was just gonna, dude, we are like in sync. I was just gonna say that. That's what talent is. It's aptitude. The ability to learn quickly a particular subject. And Sean Cheatham has aptitude for almost anything artistic or craft related, like anything. He just has an aptitude for it.
without question.
Yeah.
Now let's put you on the hot seat. Jeff, what is your aptitude?
I mean, I'll be completely, I know my weaknesses. I say it all the time. I'm a moron. I have terrible memory, terrible
I didn't ask
reading
about your weaknesses.
comprehension.
I asked about your aptitude.
No. But I know one thing. Everything I do with my hands comes fairly easy to me. And I only preface it with that because we all have our weaknesses, but we also have our strengths. And I'm not going to pretend I don't know my strengths, and my strengths are that.
So working with your hands.
Working with my hands. Anytime I do a new thing with my hands, it tends to come really easily to me. Now, does that mean I come right out of it the first time an expert? No. But if I'm standing next to another dude, chances are I'm going to get it faster. That's just been my experience. Yeah, he's so good. And he's that way too, but probably better. I mean, I wish I could find that chess set. You would love it. But anyway, I'll let you look when you have time.
Yeah.
But you got to follow him. Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
He is out of this world. So, dude, we've been at this for 2.5 hours.
Good stuff.
That's a pretty long time. All right, so maybe we should wrap up then.
Yeah, let's wrap up.
So the question, you've listened to it before, so you know what my final question is. But if there is a piece of advice that you could give to an aspiring artist, not just a woodworker, but an artist in general, what would that be?
It's two-part answer. Find joy in the daily journey of doing it. Don't focus on the destination, because 99.9% of the time you're in the journey. So learn to love the journey, and underlying that, you need a sense of curiosity.
That's great. I like how you said learn to love the journey.
Right?
Sometimes it really is that. Because sometimes like you had said earlier, sometimes you're not inspired, or you're inspired and it's fleeting. So you got to get to the workbench and just get to work. And
It's like, yeah, go ahead.
And well, I was just going to say, sometimes you just aren't loving it until you're in it for a couple hours, and then you start to get the flow. And
the flow state.
yeah, and that's when you love it. And sometimes you just have to learn that lesson, that you have to work first, and then the joy comes later.
And that's a metaphor for life. I think learning to love your life, learning to be happy in this life, is a daily practice of gratitude and appreciation. It's a practice. It's a skill. Every day, you may not be feeling it that day, but you think, you know what? My body feels pretty good. My knees work, my ankles work. I have this great coffee in front of me. The birds are chirping, the sky is blue. It's a good day. And I feel like it's a skill and a practice, just like learning to love the journey is like learning to appreciate your life.
Yeah. This was fun, man. I'm so
That was
excited.
great.
I'm so
No,
glad I
it's
did
so-
this. So glad I
I can't
did
wait for our collaboration.
this. Yeah, me too. So don't get off. We'll talk in a sec.
Okay.
But officially, thank you again, man. It was really great to have you.
This was a joy, and I hope all your painter people enjoyed this cross discussion and they weren't bored. I tried to make it as relevant to all of us as possible.
There may be some people that don't listen just because they see you're a woodworker, but they're missing out because I think it was one of my favorites. Well, hey, and then tell them again what your podcast is.
It's called Woodworking is Bullshit. It is not about woodworking. It is about
It's a good I'll just say it's a great podcast. I've listened to a couple episodes since I found out about it a couple weeks ago. It's really good.
It's about perfectionism. It's about doubt. It's about imposter syndrome. It's about design. It's about boredom. It's about hustle culture. It's about everything mental, emotional, and philosophical that we deal with. It's not about woodworking.
Yeah. Good. Awesome. All right. Hey, thanks again, man. We'll talk soon.
Awesome, Jeff. Thank
Later.
you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Undraped Artist Podcast. If you enjoyed it, subscribe. And if you could, leave a comment or review. That really helps the channel. Please share the show with your friends, and if you're feeling generous, consider a monthly donation at theundrapedartist.com. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next week.